Hey everyone. Sorry, just playing around with a few things, trying to get everything started. My apologies. Was having some little technical difficulties, wouldn't allow me to start on time, so I apologize. Thank you guys for waiting up, for being here, waiting for me. I appreciate you. Oh, I'm missing something. Where is it? I am missing something. Where is it? Oh, there you are. There you are. There you are. I couldn't find it. My bad. There we go. That looks better. How's everybody doing today? How's everybody doing today? Hope everybody's doing well. We're going to get this thing started, get this thing moving. Moving on up to the east side. We finally got a piece of the pie. We finally got a piece of the pie. I keep losing things. I don't know where they go. All right. I swear, I need about 7 more screens. If I could just get about 7 more screens, I think I'd be great. I think I would be great. All right. Well, welcome in, everybody. Hope everybody's having a beautiful, wonderful, amazing day. I'm kind of tired today, but besides that, I'm surviving. You never know when I'm tired. When I'm tired, you never know what kind of live it's gonna be. I could be just like super calm and chilled out, or I could just be like completely off the rails. I never know. It's always a guessing game. Looking clean, thank you. It's a new hat. Looking clean, thank you. If you guys missed, my hat collection, if you guys missed my hat collection, I got to I got to have I got to show off a whole bunch of hats in the in the in my Discord. It's pretty funny. I got to show off a bunch of hats in my Discord because we had I went hat shopping because I needed some new hats, and I ended up just stacking a bunch of them on Ari's head, which looked really funny. Actually, it was really kind of cool. It made everything look really. It made her look really funny. About doubled her size, I think. About doubled her size. Anyways, welcome on in, everybody. As you guys are coming in, please tap the screen. If you're on, depending on what platform you're on, just come in and start relaxing. Make yourself at home. You know, make yourself at home. Unwind yourself. Unwind yourself. All right, we're about to get this thing moving. Get on with some guests. Get on with some conversation. Ari 10 Hats. Ari 10 Hats. That is her name now. Her new name is Ari 10 Hats. For you guys that didn't that aren't aware. Oh gosh, I'm seeing so much green in there. I am loving seeing all the members and subs in the live. Makes me feel so So happy and proud. If you guys would like to be a part of the team, we do have paid subs and paid memberships depending on where you're at. We do have all of those things on, that are open and ready for you guys to join the team. I think we just went over, just the other day, we just went over 100 members, which is like super exciting for me. I know that might not be a lot, for some creators, but for me, I was super excited that we got over to over 100 members. And so, yeah, if you guys would like to be a part of that team and become a member and do all that sort of stuff, that's really, really awesome. And I appreciate you guys being here. We also have, of course, the super chats open. This is always the best time to send things like super chats and stuff, because if you have a question, I got all the time in the world to answer it. Well, before we, got all the time in the world to answer it before we, we get things going. So, what's up, Izzy? How you doing, brother? How you doing, man? Lindsay, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Yeah, we got to 100. We got to 100. I think that's pretty cool. I was talking to a buddy of mine, and he was talking about he's like 2,000 members, and I was like, you know what, bud? I'll catch you. I'll get there one day. Might take a little time, but I'll get there one day, All right, y'all. Also, if you guys support Trump and you'd like to have a conversation, best way to do that, well, there's two different ways. If you're on the TikTok side of things, you can hit that request to join button, and I can bring you up that way. I have been trying to make sure I get both. Both guests. Also, the other way is to call the number that's either above my head or to the side of my head, depending on which stream that you're watching me on. And that's another way for us to have a conversation. I just realized too, that I am missing stuff on this live. Where is it at?
It's insane.
Oh. Because I'm not in the right I'm not on the right thing. If you were watching on the horizontal, you were probably very confused for a second. Because I didn't even have the right stuff up. Gina, thank you so much for the super chat. I just realized that I don't even have that up here. Was I running that whole live on my horizontal yesterday without all my stuff up? That's wild. It's showing there. Let's see, browser. Add existing, Social Ninja. Okay. There we go. Gina, thank you so much for the super chat. Gina says, I love you and Ari. Wait, are you guys together? Yes, we are. Yes, we are. Yeah, Ari and I have been together. How long have we been together now? Since it's like the beginning of the year. Something like that. Yeah. Yep. Finding the love on TikTok. That's crazy, isn't it? That's crazy. Vicky is also saying I need to mention Twitch more. Sorry. Hi, Twitch people out there. How are you guys doing today? I'm glad she put that in there because now I can actually pull it up. All right. Well, let's open up these phone lines. Let's not wait too much. Hey, everyone on Twitch. How you guys doing? Sorry. I'm not trying to forget that you guys are there. I'm just, All right, here. All right. Doing great, Lackluster. Doing great. All right, well, let's open up these phone lines, get this thing started. And we'll see where the day takes us. Hello, how are you?
It's insane.
Hello?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Hello?
All right, well, obviously you can't hear me, but that's okay. Hello, how are you?
I'm good. How about you?
Doing well. How old are you?
Me, I am 19 years old.
Awesome. What year were you born?
2006.
Sweet. So, do you support Trump?
No, I do not. Listen, it's me again, man. Wanted to say it. Love your content. I'm sorry I haven't been saying it a lot lately. Yeah, I thought you could use a good day boost, like I said again, man. Love your content. Keep it up, brother. Don't
No
let any of
worries.
these guys crash out in your head, man. These
Oh,
guys are
they don't, man.
dumbasses sometimes.
I love when they crash out. It feeds me, man.
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah,
dude. Have a
facts,
good
man.
one, brother. Later.
It's insane.
He's always so nice. He's truly always so nice. He likes to call it every once in a while and just say hi. He's so nice. Really. With all the crazy things, whatever, that freaking 19-year-olds usually say to me on this live, it is kind of wild to have someone that's actually really nice. Jocular said, how did y'all meet? We met doing this. That's how we met. Yeah. We met online doing this. Crazy enough. Yep. Wild, right? Hello, how are you?
Hello?
Oh, you're the person who just called. All right. Well, now I gotta block you and stuff. Hello, how are you?
Whoa, I actually got through. That's crazy.
Wow, you did.
Yeah,
It was impressive. How old are you?
I'm 32.
Awesome. Do you support Trump?
I do.
Awesome. Why is that?
So I mean, honestly, he just kind of lines up with my policy views and my values personally. So that's why I support him.
He lines up with your values. I will have to say, I do question your values if you align with someone like Trump on a value basis.
I mean, I know that you're on the opposition side, so you're well.
I'm not
within
on
your
any
grounds
side,
to-
sir.
I mean, you don't support Trump, so obviously you.
Yeah, well, I think that's probably the
yeah.
biggest problem with America and Americans at all, that you think that because I don't support fascism, that I'm on another side from you. I think that's actually kind of weird.
So how do you define fascism?
Fascism is defined by, an adherence to the 14 tenets of fascism, in which Donald Trump meets all 14. Would you like me to pull them up for you?
Sure, go ahead.
Oh, you're serious? You don't know what the 14 tenets of fascism are?
No, I don't. So you have an opportunity to.
Okay,
to show me.
well, I can bring those up, and that's fine, and we can go through each one of them. That's fine. But you said that he meets with you on a values basis, and I just don't understand how someone who's who's a felon, who's been an adjudicated sexual assaulter, who cohorted with Epstein.
Was he convicted of those felonies?
Sir, I didn't ask you if he was convicted. Did I?
You said he's a felon.
No,
So
he is
if
a
he's
felon.
then clearly he's convicted.
Well, yeah, he is a felon. I didn't say that.
So he's
hold on.
He's
I
not
didn't even.
convicted of felonies.
Yes, he is. He's convicted of 34 felonies.
I thought that those were an appeal.
Well, first of all, sir, even if they're in appeal, you're still convicted. That'd be like saying that somebody that unalives someone and get the death penalty isn't actually guilty until all of their appeals are exhausted, which takes 30, 40 years. I mean, like Florida just had their record, just had an execution, right? Of their ninth execution of the year, right?
Right.
Which is their record since 2014. And it's actually the highest since 2014. It's the highest since the reinstitution of the death penalty in Florida, funny enough. But
So,
but you understand that he was
he's not convicted.
No, yet, sir, you can't appeal something.
So you can be charged with felonies,
Sir.
you can be convicted in
Sir.
court, but ultimately,
Sir, you can't appeal something until after you're convicted. You
Right.
have to be convicted to appeal. So therefore, just by the fact that you're saying they're in appeal means that he's convicted.
okay.
You understand that, right? Because what you're appealing is the conviction.
Right.
Right.
And what was he convicted of exactly?
34 counts of falsifying business records and in furtherance of another crime.
So we're gonna go after white collar crime as a reason to not really.
No, sir.
mean,
You just picked out
it just
one
kinda-
of the 4 things that I had said, and of the probably 6 more that I was about to say. which I don't understand how he aligns with your values. I said he was an adjudicated sexual assaulter. I said he cohorted with people
so
like, hold on,
his
stop,
felonies
hold on,
do not.
stop talking, because I'd like to get through a few of these, okay, before you cut me off, because you did that last time and then you tried to make it sound like it was my whole point. So let me get through a few first, okay? Like I said, he's an adjudicated sexual assaulter. He's a felon, okay? He cohorted with people like Epstein. He bragged about, going into changing rooms of young girls to see them naked. He said he had sex in common with his daughter. He sexualized a 10-year-old. Like these are, he defrauded a children's cancer charity. These are all things that Donald Trump has done. So I just don't understand how with all of those things, he cheated on his first wife with his second wife with his third wife with a porn star. These are all things that, like, I don't understand how you can say morally that you align with him.
Those things fall into, like, I kind of like disregard it, honestly, because he's a playboy billionaire. So when I say more values on policy matters, I'm talking about where he aligns on things constitutionally.
Yeah, but see, sir, you didn't say things constitutionally. You said morally you align with him.
Yeah,
if you say you align with
I'm
him
sorry.
constitutionally, I have a whole different set of questions, okay? But no, I don't believe that saying that you have sex in common with your daughter is because you're a playboy billionaire. I don't know how that...
No, he didn't have sex with his daughter.
I didn't say he did. I said he had sex in common with his daughter. That's what I said. He was asked, what do you have in common with your daughter? And he said, well, I want to say sex. There's no playboy billionaire that I've ever heard that says stuff like that.
I've never heard him say that before.
Oh, well, he did. Yeah. That was on Wendy Williams' show, I believe. That was on national television.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's like not even hard to find.
About policy matters,
so if you say you want to talk about him
referring to his
constitutionally,
opinions on immigration, I'm talking about his positions on the Second Amendment. Save bump stocks, there's a bunch of other things, that I kind of like agree with him on. His approach to, the market and the economy. I mean, the things that personally, he made things great for me with the bill that he just passed that, basically eliminated all taxes on overtime.
It did not eliminate all taxes on overtime. It didn't eliminate.
It has a cap. It has a cap.
No, sir, that's not a cap. It's a tax.
I won't breach that cap.
It's a tax deduction.
Yeah.
Yeah, that doesn't mean that you're not that doesn't mean that you're not paying taxes on your overtime. It just means at the end of the year there is a certain amount of your overtime that you can use as a deduction within your taxes. So you're
right, but if you don't breach that tax deduction cap, then you get all of that back. So I'm not going to break.
That's not
I'm married
correct.
with a kid. Yes, it is correct.
No, it is not correct.
I have a $24,000 deduction for overtime.
Correct.
Which covers
But that does not mean that you now get all that.
I would have to make more than $24,000 in overtime to actually.
Sir,
right?
Sir,
you know what I mean?
Sir.
I won't actually, and I'm not going to break that.
Sir, you're thinking of it as if it's like a refund on all of the money that you paid in taxes on the overtime.
No,
That's not how that works, okay? It is just less money that you'll have to pay on that specific amount of money, okay? As your income comes as a whole, and it also depends on how much money you make, which tax bracket you're in, which is going to decide how much that deduction actually has an effect on you.
Yeah, but I'll be getting basically like 40. It's like just shy of 50,000 in deductions.
Correct. If that's what you're saying, you do have a deduction. But again, 50,000 deductions means a lot different depending on the person, and it also doesn't mean that you're going to get $50,000 back. You understand that?
No. I understand that entirely. Yeah. No, I understand that entirely.
Yeah. So if you do decide to do your tax in a way which most people don't, which is to itemize your deductions, right? Because most people just use a standard deduction.
Right.
So if you decide to itemize your deduction, which means that it had to go over your standard deduction anyway, then you can use that as a way to save some money through that standard over that standard deduction. If the standard deduction doesn't already help you more. Right, which is probably going to be unlikely for most people. Not to mention the fact that it's only a very temporary deduction, while also
4-year period. It runs out in 2028.
3, yeah.
Yeah, if they don't renew it, and that also is hinged on
They can't renew it.
when we get to 2028, depending on the power structure, if they renew it or not. But
Yeah.
the thing is if they do, whatever party decides not to is going to lose points as a result of that. I think that this is going to be a permanent thing.
No, sir, because the next tax bill,
it's going to cause
Sir.
cause a negative public opinion in any
Yeah.
party that decides to rescind it.
sir, they can't renew it because the next tax bill isn't for 8 more years. Because Donald Trump just created an 8-year tax bill in which he created permanent tax cuts for corporations. Okay. So the next administration, it doesn't matter whether they're Republican or Democrat or independent or whatever Elon Musk party is, it doesn't matter even who it is. They can't renew it.
No, it doesn't.
After 3 years, it expires and it won't have a chance to get renewed until 5 years after that.
So they can't just pass a bill.
That's not the way it works, man. We get 8-year tax bills.
So when they pass like the budget or anything like that, they couldn't possibly just roll that kind of thing into there.
They just roll it
believe
into
they
the.
could.
Sir, I think the bigger question on why they would need to roll it, need to roll it on there. Why didn't Donald Trump just give it for the entire length of the tax bill like he did for the giant corporate tax cuts?
Maybe because it's not sustainable long term.
Why not?
The United States is in a massive deficit.
Well, sir,
And
if it's not sustainable because of the
this
national,
thing-
if it's not sustainable
thing
because
made-
of the
I'm sorry.
massive deficit, then that means it's not sustainable now, and he never should have put it in.
Yeah, no, I mean one can argue that, but I mean I don't know, because if you have I'm sorry, I need to close your stream on my phone because there's like a big delay. Sorry, one sec, because it's making it difficult for me to talk. So the way I look at it is yes, we have a massive deficit, but if the average person has more money to spend as a result of if they fill out their W-4s or their W-4s properly, then they'll see immediately that money as opposed to in a refund in the long term. Either way, there's going to be an injection of that money into the economy, which will ultimately get spent, and then it'll stimulate that economy. I honestly think that this is one of the few ways that they avoided an inflationary reaction in the market, because
The market
it's
is
not printing
inflating.
money.
Well, the
Yeah,
market
I mean, the
is
market's
inflating,
always
so
inflating.
there is an
The market-
inflationary
the
reaction.
market's always
Second
inflating.
of all, sir, okay, like when we talk about putting more money into the pockets of people, that's fine. I have no problem putting the money in the pockets of people, but the majority of people within the middle and lower class won't qualify for either the no tax on overtime or no tax on tips. They won't qualify for it. It'll be a very small, tiny, minute percentage. So when you're saying like, oh, I want more money in the pockets of the majority of people stimulates the economy, that I 100% agree with, right? But this bill, hold on, sir,
but people qualify.
Sir, but because the majority of people just don't work overtime. When you're talking about lower income people, they usually work jobs that do not have an overtime thing, right? Like people think about your people that work at Walmart or something like that. 60% of Walmart's employees are on government assistance. They're not working overtime, right? And this can be said for
the smaller business jobs also benefit from this because it also eliminated taxes on tips.
Sir, again,
that's an
even
margin
smaller
people.
amount of people than get overtime is people that actually work on
the
tips,
service industry.
and that's only a
service
12,
industry. There's
and
a
that's
bunch of people that work on
that's
tips.
only a $12,500 deduction, and it only is on cash tips, which most people within the service industry, if you've ever worked for tips, don't claim anyway.
Yeah, they don't claim it. Yeah.
Yeah, so they're getting no taxes on the.
So you would.
They're getting
you would
a
get
tax
no
deduction
taxes
on the
your
money
cash
that they
because
already
you
don't use.
Claim it.
What?
You don't get your taxes on your cash because you don't claim it, but then any of the credit card tips and stuff like that, because most people pay with card now.
Card
that
tips
money
don't count.
gets
It's cash tips. That's written into the bill. It's cash tips.
It's cash tips. It's not hard tips.
Correct.
I'm gonna have to verify that.
Yeah, go ahead, man.
Sure, that's true.
Even if it is card tips, like I said,
I mean, I won't do that
let's
now, but I'll
like
look that
say
up
they
later.
rewrite it and they put card tips in there, even though 12,500 doesn't even that's nothing, right? Like again, it's a tax deduction, and it's not enough money to stimulate the economy, especially when you're talking about adding more money into the economy, right? And then you're also putting in things like tariffs, which are inflationary. So you're saying, hey, I'm going to give a small percentage of people a tiny little bit of money in their pockets, but then prices are going to go up exponentially across the board on everything, so that money doesn't actually relate into into actual spending power.
I mean, but the tariffs could be temporary.
The tariffs could be
So they're
temporary,
not
but if
actually,
they are temporary,
they're not
if they are
they're not
temporary, then what's the
inflationary
point?
on a permanent scale.
Okay, but if they are
They're
temporary,
because they're being used as a bargaining chip with other nations so that the nations kind of fall in line with what our economic goals are.
sir, he
That's
just
kind of the whole
announced the
point.
bargaining chip deal with the European Union, which settled on us putting a 15% tariff on them. So
Yeah.
so he's
Because
saying
those
no,
nations
no,
because
no,
those
hold on,
nations have
sir.
it's a
I'm not.
reciprocal tariff.
No, sir, I'm not asking whether it was reciprocal tariff. I'm not asking what those nations were doing. You're saying that they're temporary, and the final solution was a 15% tariff. So therefore, it's not temporary, and the ending trade deal still ended with an inflationary tariff.
Are they imposing tariffs on us?
Sir, that's not the point. Don't change the subject. You
That is
said
entirely
no.
that is
Listen,
entirely
no,
the
no.
point.
Listen,
The
sir,
point
sir,
is that the
sir.
tariffs
If you
are put
want,
in
sir,
place
no,
because
stop. If you want to talk about whether they were imposing tariffs on us or all that sort of stuff, we can do that. You said the words, and I need you to listen to what I'm talking about, okay? Because I don't want you to switch subjects again. Okay? You said that the tariffs are temporary, and that way they can be used as a bargaining chip. Okay?
Yeah.
He used the tariffs as a bargaining chip, and the final thing still put a 15% tariff on Europe. So therefore, A, it's not temporary, and B, those tariffs are going to cause inflation, meaning that the small amount of money that you might get from a tax deduction does not help you because Donald Trump's permanent trade deal included inflationary tariffs.
Okay.
So again, sir, even if those bills did help some amount of people, then that's fine and that's great. But again, over the long run, it's not going to end up in spending power because the prices of things are going to raise due to inflation. Make sense?
Right, but I think like kind of pivoting here, I think that the tariffs are kind of essential to kind of rein in the tariffs that have been imposed on the United States. It's going to kind of sound like rhetoric, but I don't think that it's fair that the United States has been penalized by other countries that we're doing business with that are claiming to be our allies and then turning around and they're costing us more money on the goods that we send them, you know.
Sir, who pays a tariff?
This doesn't seem right. Huh?
Who pays a tariff?
Okay, so when a country, just to kind of give you an idea of what my understanding of the tariff is,
okay,
is
sure,
that
why
when a
not?
country levies a tariff against another country, the country that the tariff is levied against, they have to account for the tariff and the cost of goods so that they can make a profit, right?
Wrong.
So if I'm selling something to someone and then someone puts a tariff on me, I have to increase the cost of goods.
Wrong.
Because they're taxing my goods so that I can make money where I'm selling it.
Incorrect.
That is correct.
That is not correct, sir. The correct answer to who pays a tariff, sir, the correct answer to who pays a tariff is the importer. Okay.
It's the consumer that pays the tariff.
The consumer eventually pays the tariff, but the importer pays the tariff. Okay. So therefore, when we put a tax on the European Union, what we're saying is, hey, all of the people in the United States, all of the United States companies that are importing from there now have to pay an extra tax on that product. Europe doesn't pay anything extra. The United States business that's importing that pays extra. So when you're saying, oh, Europe is charging us a tax because of tariff, no, it's not. They're charging their own people a tax when they get stuff from.
I just said that the consumer.
No, sir, I'm not talking about the consumer. I'm talking about well before the consumer. Okay. You said that Europe is. You said that
the consumer eats the cost of the tariff because the cost of goods are raised as a result of the tariff existing.
You said that the places like Europe are charging the United States for us to send goods over there. That is incorrect. The European Union is charging their own people a tax if they get stuff from us. It's not a tax on us. There is no punitive mark on us.
I'm literally agreeing with you.
Okay, but
we're kind of saying the same thing in a roundabout way.
We are not. Okay, because it's very important to understand that we pay that. So when we put a 15% tariff on Europe, we are punishing our own companies, our own businesses, and our own consumers. We're not punishing Europe. So that's why reciprocal tariffs don't make any sense. Okay.
So we are ultimately, when we place a tariff on Europe, the cost of goods that we send them or that they consume from us, ultimately that cost gets put off on the consumer in Europe. And it's the same way when Europe sends us goods and there's a tariff, we eat that cost.
No, if we put a tariff on Europe, no one in Europe frickin' pays anything. Only we do.
Yeah, I think I have it a little bit backwards there. Yeah. So, yes, I understand that universally tariffs, even if they are reciprocal, they raise the cost of goods across the market, and it ultimately harms the consumer. But if Europe has got tariffs on the United States and the United States levies a reciprocal tariff on them, then ultimately what that is kind of doing is putting market pressure on Europe to stop levying tariffs against the United States so that we can have a more free exchange on the market. And that's kind of where those tariffs have been kind of targeted, is if we find that a country is levying a high tariff, like for instance, the whole milk thing with Canada. Canada levies a tariff against the United States on dairy. And I understand why.
Sir,
Because
they only levied
Canada's
a
domestic
tariff.
market and dairy can't, huh?
This is why this reciprocal tariff thing doesn't make any sense, because it's not an understanding of what's going on. That dairy tariff is only after the amount of imports into Canada reached a certain amount of imports.
Right.
And that
Right.
tariff,
But if
and
they-
that, hold on, sir, hold on. That number had never been reached. So therefore, that tariff that we're putting a reciprocal tariff against has never, ever, ever, ever been used or charged on anything. So how are you going to say there
Never.
is a reciprocal tariff on something that has never once been implemented?
I just don't think that the Canadian market is large enough in dairy to actually be able to hang with the United States. So that's why they have that there. I understand the reason behind it.
Sir,
If the United States was flooding the Canadian market with dairy, then ultimately the dairy market in Canada would not
sir,
survive.
it never got to that point. It never even got close.
I think that that's why that's there, though, if it ever did.
If it ever did, but
That's what I'm
didn't.
saying.
That'd be like saying
Okay.
that'd be like saying like, hey, we're gonna put a tariff on every dollar, of imports that we get from
I was really just
from
using it as an
Somalia that's
example.
over $100 trillion.
It was more my example was to more express that I understand why certain markets may have a tariff in place to protect their domestic markets.
Sir, there's
But
nothing
that's
wrong
not- I
with
mean,
certain
not all
tariffs on
tariffs
certain
operate in
goods.
a-
But that is not what we're dealing with right now. We're not dealing with certain tariffs on certain goods in order to protect certain industries. That would be what's called a correct use of tariffs.
Mm.
But these tariffs aren't even reciprocal tariffs. Like Donald Trump was asked how he calculated these tariffs that he was putting on other countries, and he pretty much just like, oh, it's just the way I kind of feel about the market. It was something that they had made up that had to do with trade deficits. It didn't even have anything to do with tariffs, right? Like
So what do you
the tariff
think, what do
rate
you
is
think
not
about the
reciprocal.
tariffs levied against China then?
What tariffs are levied against China? The ones that are currently on there, or the ones that were on there?
I mean, I guess currently I haven't really been paying attention to the actual timeline or whatever's been going on with those. It's more about like the foundational idea behind what you think about
Well,
those tariffs.
what do you think about the tariffs that Donald Trump put on the herd in McDonald Islands?
So it's my understanding that there's like nobody there or something like that. There was like something stupid about that.
Yeah,
So I
people
can kind
don't
of
live
agree
there.
that was dumb. Yeah.
So how do we have a reciprocal tariff against a country that doesn't have people on it?
That doesn't even have any people on it. I don't know.
Well, sir,
I mean,
that
this
should
is-
show
that's-
you right there that these tariffs weren't reciprocal, because in order to have a reciprocal tariff, that country would have to have a tariff on us too that would freaking be charging their consumers more for taxes.
Are those
But
still in
it's-
effect? Because I think
doesn't
that
happen.
those got pulled back.
No, those are still on, but we got to tariff those penguins. Got to get those penguins tariffed for sure. But sir, that should show you right there that Donald Trump had no intention of making these tariffs reciprocal, because if he did, he wouldn't have put tariffs on countries that don't have people. He also wouldn't have had put tariffs on countries that had very low tariffs on us. He put like at one point, I think like a 90% tariff on Vietnam when they currently had a tariff on us of less than 5%. Okay. And he's using like a trade deficit in order to do that. And a trade deficit is not the same as a tariff, and therefore it doesn't match in that category whatsoever. So that's why I know, like, this is not what Donald Trump's doing. He was asked how he was doing the tariffs, and he was just like, oh, I just kind of go off the feeling and the market and what I think about stuff and that type of thing. And it's like, well, okay, but that's not a
Right.
reciprocal tariff. He literally is currently levying a tariff against Brazil, or threatened to levy a tariff against Brazil because they're prosecuting their old right wing, president or prime minister or whatever he was, Bolsonaro. He just didn't like that they're charging this guy in Brazil criminally, so they're trying to tariff him. How is that reciprocal?
I think that there's a lot more going on in Brazil, and I don't really pay attention to the internal politics of Brazil.
Yeah, not
too
only did
heavily.
they not have a high tariff on us, they also don't even have a trade deficit because we're not even their biggest trading partner. But Donald Trump is still threatening them with tariffs. But sir, at the end of the day,
Yeah, and
okay,
there's
the end of
I
the
feel
day,
there's
like
a lot
you said,
more going on with
we
Brazil than just that, though.
what you're saying when you're saying, hey, it's a good thing that we put tariffs on. What you're literally saying is it is a good thing that Americans pay more in taxes. Okay.
I think that if when it comes to tariffs, I think that ultimately levying those tariffs against so for instance, like right now, one of the things that I feel as far as the tariffs go is the cost of vapes has been impacted, right? I do vape, whatever. And it's suddenly the vapes are no longer on the shelves because they're too expensive to sell in my area. At least that's what the vape shops are telling me. So, I don't know. With tariffs, I'm not really obviously particularly informed on the subject. And I probably need to do a little bit more research. We kind of talked about that a lot, though. Can we move on to another another thing?
I mean, sure, if you feel the need to, go ahead.
Okay, so I think that part of the reason that I voted for Trump is also because of the contrast of options, right? I mean, I'm not going to attack Kamala Harris personally. That's not really my thing, right? It's just that her position on policies didn't necessarily agree with me,
Like
right?
what?
Her positions on the Second Amendment
What
were
position?
not something that I agreed with. Her positions on abortion, which is something that's a conservative value, right? I'm not really going to debate that particular issue on its merits because there's no ground to be made between the opposing sides on that, right? But that's just kind of where I come from with that,
What position
the
on the
stuff
Second
with
Amendment, sir? Because Kamala Harris is a gun owner. Her vice president was like the freaking congressional
Right,
sharpshooter.
yeah, she was a gun owner,
Is
so
still currently is.
she is a gun owner.
You know what I'm saying? That, and again, and Donald Trump hasn't had a firm position on gun control whatsoever, besides banning bump stocks and saying that we need to take guns away from people before we know whether a crime has been committed or not, which is
Right,
I believe
yeah.
would go very much against anything that you have to say with the Second Amendment. So what are you talking about that you're voting for Donald Trump with the Second Amendment thing when he's obviously
So he
and
did-
very
yes, he did
unequivocally
ban
been more freaking anti-Second Amendment than Kamala Harris is?
I mean, his policy action surrounding bump stocks was definitely reactionary, and I wasn't particularly happy about that. But I mean, there's always a workaround for that kind of thing. I'm not going to get into like gun parts and stuff like that, but I mean, I think that his policy on the Second Amendment kind of trickled down by who he selected to the Supreme Court, and we did have recently a landmark case that stripped the necessity for the tax stamps on suppressors, which ultimately is going to pretty much result in, suppressors being non-NFA because there's no money to back.
That has nothing to do.
processing
I'm
on
talking
that
about
kind of
Trump's
thing.
policies, not who he put on his
Right.
in the
Yeah, but his
in
policies-
Supreme Court.
His policies through the judiciary that he selected.
No, that's not a
are
policy,
kind of a
sir. He
reflection.
selected people in the
Yeah.
judiciary, and they continued.
Yeah.
They were going to be in here regardless of who you voted for president. You said Donald Trump's stance on the Second Amendment, and Donald Trump has been unequivocally more infringing on the Second Amendment than Kamala Harris has. Unequivocally.
I mean, if you're counting bump stocks is the thing, that's pretty much it. But
Well, we
besides
have
that,
bump
he's
stocks,
been
and
very
again,
hands-off.
we have bump stocks for Donald Trump, and what do we have for Kamala Harris?
Well, nothing, because she hasn't had the power.
What
to
about
actually
when
do
she was
anything
the-
about it? But
what
her
about when she was the
positions
district
on it
attorney
have been
and-
negative?
What about when she was a district attorney or attorney general in California? Did she pass anything that was anti-Second Amendment?
I don't think that a district attorney can pass laws.
Did she support any laws or campaign for
I
any
mean,
laws or the second enforcement of any laws?
In California, I don't think that she was particularly opposed to any of the laws that were there.
What about when she was a senator? Did she vote on anything like that?
Directly on it.
What about when she was a senator?
Sorry?
Did she vote on anything like that?
So I would have to actually look at her record.
Gotcha. So if you count all of their, if you count them,
or not.
if you count all of their stuff together, we have Donald Trump, 1 bill against, Kamala Harris, 0 bills against. Can you please explain to me why you voted for Donald Trump over Kamala Harris when it has to do with the Second Amendment? I'm still confused.
I mean, the people that he selected did not have an
He selected them because they were anti-abortion. He never said he was selecting anyone based on the Second Amendment. That could have very easily just been an accident that Donald Trump did not know anything about. Actually, it's probably more likely that it was an accident that Donald Trump didn't know anything about.
I don't think that he selected them primarily for anti-abortion. I think that he selected them based on the merits that they were conservative and that they had an original interpretation
and campaigned.
Of the Constitution.
He said and campaigned out of his own mouth for like a year, if you elect me, I will put Supreme Court justices in that will overturn Roe versus Wade. Not once, not twice, like 100 times. His entire platform was, I'm going to put these Supreme Court justices in to overturn Roe versus Wade. His entire stance on the judiciary was anti-abortion. He never once said it had anything to do with guns or about them being conservative or anything like that. He specifically said over the course of an entire year of campaigning that that's why he was putting them in. So how are you going to tell me that now that like that's not why he put them in when he said that's why he was putting them in? And then afterwards bragged about the fact that he put them in for that.
Okay, so I'm looking here, and Kamala Harris had in her 2020 campaign.
Sir, if you have to look it up now, 9 months after, sir, you don't get to tell me that Kamala, you voted for, hold on, stop. You don't get to tell me you voted for Donald Trump over Kamala Harris due to the Second Amendment when you're going to wait until August after the election to look up what Kamala Harris's stance on firearms is.
I can't, it's because I cannot remember right now what her positions were. I know that she was anti-2A.
No, she was not.
I'm looking at a single article right now.
Congratulations, sir. You looked up a single article 9 months late, and you have no other context inside of it. Sir, I know exactly what she said. Sir, I know exactly what you're about to say. Okay, and I already know.
Stated that states should have stopped. That no state should continue passing stand your ground laws, which is, I think, is essential. A stand your ground law is. I live in a stand your ground law state. Do you know what stand your ground is?
Yes, sir. But since you're not listening to me, I'm just going to stop listening to you.
Okay.
Because if you're going to go and take go right now, 9 months after the election, to start looking up Kamala Harris's rhetoric around 2A, then you didn't vote for Sir, I'm still in the middle of a sentence. I'm still in the middle of a sentence. If you were going to wait until August after the election to look up what you freaking voted against Kamala Harris for in November, then you're being like you're even speaking in bad faith. Okay? You don't care what her actual stance was or what she talked about when it came to gun control or when she, common sense gun control or about stand your ground laws or when she talked about stand your ground laws or when she talked about any of those stuff. You didn't care about that. You just saw, oh, she's on the left, so therefore freaking Trump must be better, even though Trump literally said we should go into people's houses regardless of whether they've committed a crime or not and just take away all of their guns for to be sure prior to them having any convictions.
So one can say one thing and do another.
Then why are you talking about what Kamala Harris said?
So the reason
then why are you talking about Kamala Harris? What Kamala Harris said?
I'm answering that question. So why I'm looking this up now is because prior to voting for Trump, I was aware of this stuff, but I pretty much memory dumped it at this point, because it's not really, when I'm talking about contrast, it's stuff that I've kind of moved on from, right? Because it's pretty much history. So you know, you're asking what her positions on the 2A were, what she said she was. It's not
I
really.
know what
Also,
her
it's not really
positions
what
are,
she
sir.
did. It's okay. So
I
her
don't need you
positions
to
on the
look up what the
2A are
positions are.
entirely
You don't know what her
unfavorable.
positions are. And the fact that
Her,
literally hold on, stop. You
I knew
literally said
enough.
stop. You literally said Kamala Harris said this about stand your ground laws. All right. That's what you said. Okay.
Right.
Then I said,
So
well,
I
Donald,
knew
hold
enough.
on, I'm not finished. Then I said, well, Donald Trump said this about freaking taking people's guns away. And the next words out of your mouth were, well, Donald Trump can say whatever because as long as he does other things, when only thing that he's done again is ban bump stocks. So again, sir, it's if it's Kamala Harris, well, she said something, I don't like it. If it's Donald Trump, well, he just says that and he'll do something else.
It didn't happen. So he said, yeah, we should take the guns first and ask questions later, but that never actually
Sir,
happened.
if you're going to say that one person's rhetoric doesn't matter and the other person's matters completely, just depending on whether you like them or not, then that's just you just being,
her policy.
You're
her
just being
policy
partisan
never
for no
did
reason.
Anything to favor the 2A when she was in districts and in positions where she could have done something about it.
Oh, really? They didn't?
There's her entire career. She's been relatively anti-2A.
Oh, really?
And her party in its entirety walks lockstep in that position.
The Democratic Party has
the
Democratic Party has literally had the House and the Senate, including like twice, including a supermajority by Obama, where not one singular piece of legislation against 2A was ever even introduced.
Oh, really?
During that time? No. Find me one. Find me one.
They have introduced bills, regardless of whether they had control or not.
Well, no, having control is the point, sir. If you don't introduce, sir, if you're introducing bills when you don't have control, then you're not trying to get anything done. And when you do have control, if you're not introducing anything when you do have control, that means that that's not your priority, sir. See, you have been brainwashed by the NRA and the billions of dollars they've spent. Okay.
I haven't even said anything about the NRA.
No, you didn't, because you don't even realize that you're brainwashed by it.
I don't support the NRA.
I don't care whether you support it. You're supporting it right now.
My God-given right
to
defend my own life.
Where in the Bible does it say you can have a fucking gun?
I didn't say anything about the Bible either.
Oh, okay. Where do you get your information on what God wants?
I'm not arguing.
You said God-given right.
Okay,
where does God give you that right?
So do you want to know where I derived that from? I derived that from the Declaration of Independence.
That wouldn't be your God-given right. That would be your founding fathers' right. You said God-given right.
There's a philosophical and secular reason behind that.
I don't want your philosophical and secular reason behind it. I want where you found out where you had a God-given right.
So if I say that I have a God-given right, ultimately that means that the state has no stance in it, because it means it could be the universe, right? So the reason that I say that is because I am declaring that right is independent of any man-made agency, right?
So you're saying a man-made agency gave you a right that's independent of a man-made agency.
No, I'm saying that agency has no say on the subject. That
the agency that gave you the right
of man.
The agency that gave you the right.
The agency that gave me that right is my existence at a minimum, if you don't like the mention of God.
Oh, no, I'm fine with your God. You're the one who can't back up your claim about God. That's not me. I don't care.
Yeah. So
you don't have the right. You don't have a
saying,
right to own a fucking gun.
What people don't understand is that when someone says that they have a God-given right, whether they believe that or not, it's just like when they told the king in the Declaration of Independence that their rights exist given by God. What they were saying is that the king has no power on this matter, and something that supersedes him does. So when one says that they have the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, then ultimately that right is given to them by something external of man.
Yeah. So what about all of the children that are dying in school shootings? Do they also get the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, or does it just count for you when you want your gun?
Then they were deprived
by you because of your gun, because literally you had the choice one way or the other.
Not my gun.
No, your gun.
You're saying that
No,
you're
your
saying
gun.
that
I
my
mean
guns were
specifically
used to
your
kill these
gun.
children?
Yes, I'm talking about yours. Okay, because your rhetoric and the way that you have your stance on guns is what causes those children to die. Okay,
I think that
because
the
you can be
liberal
a because
stance on
you can
firearms is what
because
also
sir
I mean, if
because
we're going to go
because you
down
could
an
be a gun
irrational
owner.
rabbit hole
You
about
could
this,
be
I
a
think
gun owner.
ultimately that the
You
right
could be
of
a gun
people
owner,
to defend their
sir.
lives.
Sir, you could be a gun owner
Mhm.
and have some common sense. Okay, but you choose not to have that part of that common sense. You choose to be a gun owner who says that not only do I get to have one to protect myself, but I don't want anybody anywhere to be able to make a law that makes children safer. Okay? So that's your problem. I
I
don't
think
care
that
if
interestingly, it's interesting that you bring that up because the laws that were put in place to protect those children in those gun-free zones are the reasons that they're a soft target.
oh, the
And I
laws
think
that were
that
put
that's
in
why
place. So you're one of
maniacs
those
keep
you're one of
targeting
those
them.
those people that's like we should give the teachers guns. You're one of those
I
idiots.
think that there should be more. I think that there should be more armed security in schools in the event that
Even though
someone decided.
all of the data shows that the entire good guy with a gun thing is a complete farce, and actually, when you have a good guy with a gun, they're not only
I
more
mean,
likely to be
it
killed,
depends
but they're
on
also more
what
likely.
data are you
They're
pulling
also
from.
more likely to have the freaking gun taken away from them and used against them than they are to actually stop anything.
I think you probably need to check your crime statistics.
No,
because
I've
I think
checked
what
them
people miss is
very,
how many
very in
lives
depth.
are saved, how many crimes are stopped by someone that has a gun and is in a situation where
Yeah.
they needed it.
How many people with
where
guns
your
were there,
scenario-
sir?
where your
How many
scenario
people
in
with guns were
school
there
where
in
children are
Uvalde,
killed
Texas?
by people with guns because no one else there had them.
Yeah, sir. How many people
If
with
I
guns
was
were
going to
standing
do-
there? Hey, sir. How many
If
people
I
with
was going
guns
to
were
do
at
a harmful and
Uvalde,
horrible
Texas?
thing, I would ultimately
Why are
go
you
to
not
the
answering my
place where-
question? Why are you ignoring me and not
Because
answering
I
my
wasn't
question?
done talking.
I said, how many
Because
people
I
with
wasn't done
guns were at
talking.
Uvalde, Texas, after they stood around freaking around the school while a bunch of innocent children were shot down? How many good guys with guns were there?
I think that is a situation of cowardice. I'm pretty sure that was when the cops said that it wasn't their job to go in there.
Gotcha. Do you know that?
And that ultimately, oh my gosh, I'm glad that you brought that up because ultimately that also shows that an instance where the people that we thought were supposed to protect us didn't, and the people that could have protected themselves couldn't by your laws and by your logic.
Hold on. You think my laws in Uvalde, Texas? Yes,
In
guys,
the
the
school,
super blue anti-gun, no-gun zone in Uvalde, Texas. That is what you are claiming for me right now.
Was the school a gun-free zone?
Was the school
Sir,
a gun-free
if it
zone? Was, that was because of Republican policies. If it was because of Republican policies, because who's the fucking governor who makes those laws in Texas?
I don't think so.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did Democrats take over Texas when I wasn't looking?
No.
I'm sorry. Are Democrats now in control of rural Texas now?
You found one.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, so
no, you said because of my laws. That is what you said. I didn't make that instance.
Yeah,
you did. You said because of my laws.
The party that
no, I'm not talking about predominantly. I am talking about the incredibly blue freaking Texas like that this happened at. Because of my laws. I'll bet you Uvalde, Texas has more guns than people. I bet I'd easily put that money. I put money on that. Easy. The gun-free zones in Texas. The gun-free, super democratic rural Texas. All right. Anyways, you obviously don't actually want to have a conversation and want to talk in bad faith.
No,
so I'm going to move on. I'll move on to the next person. I hope you have a good one.
You too.
Guys, gun-free blue Texas. You guys know about it. Hey, guys, while you guys are here, make sure you guys hit that freaking follow button. Hit that subscribe button if you guys are new here. Really appreciate that. Turn on those notifications. We do this every single day, but Thursday. I really, really appreciate that. Thank you guys so much. Oh, my goodness. Sorry, I just couldn't get over that part. Anyways, Frost, thank you so much for the super chat. Says, trying to call in for another week, can't get through. I don't know how. I literally announce when I'm going on, and literally nobody was calling at the beginning. I don't know what to tell you. It's even scheduled ahead of time. So I don't know what to tell you. But thank you for the super chat. I really appreciate that. And Junker, thank you so much for the 500 jewels. I really appreciate that also. Y'all, if you guys would like to support, I do have super chats open. They do help to keep the live going. And if you want to join the team, become a member, consider becoming a paid member, paid subscriber, or gifting one to somebody else too. It does help me to keep these lives going. That with super chats and the gifts and all that sort of stuff. I really, really appreciate that. Thank you so much. We are going to move on to the next caller to keep this thing going, but make sure you guys hit that sub button. Why is that not working? Oh, no, no one over here. All right, we're going to open this thing back up. Appreciate you guys. Hello, how are you?
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
Hi. You are Polly?
How old are you?
I am 32.
Awesome. Do you support Trump?
Yes, I do.
Awesome.
Well, I honestly like Vance better than Trump, but Trump is what we got, so we accept it.
No, it's not Trump is what we got. It's either you support Trump or you don't.
I support Trump, but I like Vance more than Trump personally.
All right. Why do you support Trump?
Why? One, I will be honest, I am Catholic, so the Vance thing helps there. I don't agree. I did not like Harris at all for a lot of reasons.
Yeah, why would you like the Christian person who worked under the actual Catholic? I'd much rather support Donald Trump.
Because Biden isn't an actual Catholic.
Yes, he is.
No. Anyone who supports pro-choice isn't an actual Catholic. That's
well,
Catholic
I guess the
doctrine.
Bible isn't Catholic then.
That's very inaccurate. I'm saying specifically Catholic doctrine.
Is the Bible not part of Catholic doctrine?
It absolutely is. But
well, the Bible gives instructions on how to give an abortion. So
the Bible is not there. The Bible has a lot of different things in it. It is not just, oh yeah, this is all the things you can do. There's a lot of bad things in the Bible, and then when the New Testament comes, then we get a lot of new rules that, like, because it believes you can, like, it gives things on stoning women and stuff too in the Old Testament.
Hey, that's your book that's your book that you abide by. I don't agree with stoning women, but you know, hey.
Catholic Church isn't about that though.
It's not about God or the Bible.
That you have to separate the Old Testament. Like, you have to look at it as the Old Testament was the history up to the New Testament, and then you had Revelations after.
Even though even though Jesus specifically says that the Old Testament law is still in effect.
It is to an extent, but he.
What do you mean to an extent? You mean like when you want it to be?
No, absolutely not. That would be the difference between Jewish tradition and Christianity.
Gotcha. So you're saying I'm going to take the Bible, pick out whatever part of the Bible I want, and then vote based off of that. That's what you're saying.
That's not at all what I'm saying.
All right. Let me ask you a question. Is God the writer of the Bible? Yes or no?
I'm sorry. What was that again?
Is the Bible God's word? Yes or no?
Yes.
All right. Awesome. Is God ever changing?
God himself? No.
Gotcha.
Well, yes, God can do whatever he wants whenever he wants.
God can do whatever he wants whenever he wants. Gotcha.
He's omnipotent and omniscient.
God. So God, who's omnipotent and omniscient, gave instructions on how to give an abortion. Okay.
Yeah.
Specifically, then sent his son, and in the new hold on, sir, I'm not finished. And in the New Testament to specifically tell you that the law was still in effect. Okay. And you have decided that based off of your own feelings, you don't care about any of that. And you're going to decide against what God wants in the name of God. Does that make sense?
Are you, can I just ask, are you Christian? Are you Catholic? What?
No, I left Christianity a long time ago.
Okay, that's, as a Christian, the thing I hope most is for people to reach Christianity. So
and as an atheist, my hope is that as many people leave as possible.
And you know what?
I really don't care.
Have that view.
I really don't care. Believe whatever you want, sir.
I'm trying to be fair here.
Sir,
No,
you can
I'm saying
believe.
believe whatever you want.
Sir,
I hope.
I don't care that you believe what you want to believe. I really don't. Okay?
That's
No,
fine.
no, sir. I truly, truly, truly don't believe. Okay? I don't care that you believe whatever you want. What I have a problem with is when you're saying that because of something that you believe, that you support someone to legislate what you believe on people who don't believe that.
I mean, I believe abortion's evil personally. That's just my stance on it. And I know people that have gotten abortions. I don't treat them any differently because I believe that they've been in a culture that has told them it was okay. I'm
Sir,
not
again,
going
if
to.
you believe that abortion is evil, then I 100% support your right to not have one.
No,
Okay?
yeah,
But you
being
don't have the
me
right to
believing-
legislate somebody else's rights who don't believe in your fairy tale.
Hey, personally, I don't think we should legislate it. I want to win in the culture battle. I
But
want to
you
make
said
people
you support
feel
Trump.
like, yep. Trump has said he's not going to do anything national abortion. He said that multiple times on multiple occasions.
Okay.
J.D. Vance did say that Trump would pass a national abortion ban, and then he got clocked by Trump right after saying, I spoke out of turn. Right now, it's up to the states, and right now, I'm fine with it being there.
Yeah, you're cool with the government forcing your religion on other people, just depending on the state.
I didn't say that at all. I believe the states should have the power to dictate what they should do in their own jurisdiction.
Right, in their own jurisdiction, depending on what part of the United States you live in, decides whether you have the right to your own body according to someone else's religion.
But the question is at what point is it your own body?
Always, it's never someone else's body.
Well, when there's another body, a part of you, wouldn't that be considered someone else's body?
Well, the whole thing of when it's a body is again up to your own
that
beliefs.
That is up for debate. I will agree.
It's up for your own beliefs, which is why the state shouldn't be able to tell you.
I said up for debate. I believe with future science, we'll figure out that the spark of life, and if I remember correctly, when a sperm reaches the egg, there's actually a chemical reaction that creates light, which then also is a great correlation to the Bible. Let there be light.
The Bible says that life starts at first breath.
Yes, the Bible is meant for people, not. I'm not a preacher. My preacher said it perfectly, and I wish I could remember exactly what he said. But do you mind if we're not going to agree on this topic, and that's absolutely fine.
Oh, sir, I don't care
topic?
whether we agree. Why would I want to switch topics, sir? You are floundering all over the place. This is great for me. I'm enjoying the hell out of this, watching you flounder over your own Bible because you can't freaking you can't freaking back any type of argument that supports how that you are ignoring your Bible, ignoring your God in order to support someone that makes decisions that forces your religion onto other people. So I have no problem with this. I mean, we can move on if you want to. That's totally fine.
I'm going to listen to an atheist on how to properly do Christianity, though. That doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Just tell me that.
First of all, I'm a much. I promise you, I'm a much better Christian than you are. First of all, I already know my Bible better than you do, so that's already a good start. So even as an atheist, I'm already doing a better job of being a Christian.
You probably do know your Bible better than me. I'm not going to disagree with that. I fell away from the faith a long time ago, and I've come back into it recently, and I'm starting to learn now. So I won't say that I know the Bible more than you. You probably do know it more than me. I'm in the process of learning that. I go by what my preacher says, though, and what the Catholic doctrine has said.
Yes, sir. I understand that instead of going off of God's word, you go off of what man has changed God's word to mean for their own personal benefit. Okay? And that's fine. That's fine, sir. Sir, if that's what you want to do, but I'm saying if that's what you want to do, if you want to ignore God's word, all right,
Wow.
and just concentrate on what your pastor tells you, as if your pastor, knows more about what God's thinking than God does, and you'd rather just deal with what your pastor says, then that's fine. I have no problem with that.
Pastor has a
All-
closer ear to God than I do.
Your pastor, sure, that's fine. You have literally God's word. I don't know how much closer it could be. Literal, the things that God says, you have it written down in a book, and I'm assuming you know how to read. So you can just read it, okay, which is what I
You don't
did,
need to.
instead of,
And I
having to
have
go
been.
through like a third party
I-
intermediary.
Well, no, I specifically went through a class for to become be acknowledged in the Catholic Church and everything. I had to go to a class for 6 months and all that stuff, and that's fine. I enjoyed it. Actually, it was really great. For me personally, I felt better when I did it. The Bible is more. People look at the Bible incorrectly as it's not just a rule set of
Oh, I'm
everything.
aware.
Everything in the Bible, it's more of a historical document than anything. It's not saying this is everything you should do, everything you shouldn't do in the whole of the Bible. It's to get what we want humanity to be closer to. And as Christianity progressed, it also, can you acknowledge Christianity has done a lot of great things?
Done a lot of horrific things too.
Oh, acknowledge completely. It's done a lot of horrific things as the same as any super powerful entity has. Would you disagree with that? Any entity that has gained as much power as the Catholic Church has also abused
Sir,
that
but
power?
you don't get to use that when you're talking about something that's omnipotent, right? When you're talking about a God that you're using as your moral guidelines, right? If you're using that, then, and you're saying that again, you're saying that people in your clergy or whatever have a closer connection to God than anybody else, and you're saying, hey, they have a closer connection in God. God is the moral forward to this, and then you have to explain things like American chattel slavery or the Crusades. Then that doesn't make any sense.
I didn't say anything about that. Crusades were awful on both ends, honestly. They were horrible. Either way, you look at it. The Muslims did horrible things, and the Christians definitely did horrible things. I am saying that as you look at the Bible, you need to look at it more as a historical document than since it's in the Bible, that means it's okay. That's not what the Bible's for. It's never what it's meant for.
I do read it like a historical document, the same way I read Harry Potter books as a historical document.
That's not a...
There's lots of good information about there.
Hey,
I've actually gotten to go to King's Cross Station. That was really cool to actually see something from the book, and then all the cool mythological stuff is pretty cool in there too. I think it's pretty awesome.
Not a lot of logical stuff in Harry Potter as far as magic
not a lot of logical stuff in the Bible either.
There is actually a lot of logical stuff. I would agree, or I disagree, I guess.
But anyway, this conversation is boring as all hell. So
and you're an idiot, so that's fine. You won't let me
listen to that Christian love, guys. Remember, there's no hate. There's no hate in the world. There's no hate in the world like Christian love. Okay.
I can acknowledge you're dumb and say I hope you find Jesus and hope you find salvation.
Love in the world like Christian hate, guys. Listen to Jesus speak through this man as he calls people dumb and freaking tries to berate them.
And I literally
this is God's love showing. Hallelujah.
And I hope you find God.
Hallelujah.
I'm not even.
Hallelujah.
Okay.
Hallelujah.
You have a great rest of your day, sir.
Hail Satan.
I really.
What would Jesus do? What would Jesus do? Y'all, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button, hit that follow button. If you guys are, no matter which platform you're on TikTok, if you're on Twitch, make sure you guys are hitting that follow button, hitting that subscribe button. YouTube, of course. If you guys like support, I do have super chats open. Lipa, thank you so much for the super chat. 3 times. It says the same thing. Thank you so much. It might be the same one, actually, because I've been having a little bit of a glitch over here. But thank you so much for the $2. I really, really appreciate that. Thank you so much. If you guys like to support, please consider donating with super chats and stuff like that. It's really helpful. I will be right back. Hold up. I totally forgot people are probably playing bingo too. Shoot, I forgot about that. I should have probably checked to see if my members and subscribers were playing bingo. I totally forgot about that. Are you guys playing bingo over in my Discord? All right, let's move this thing on. Bingo's in my Discord. If you're a paid member or subscriber, then you can join the Discord and try to win some merch by winning at bingo. It's pretty cool. All right, I'm gonna have to turn on something to help Corey over here because I don't know what is going on in this chat. Oh shoot, I didn't turn on the phone. I thought I did. My bad. I'm gonna try to help out real quick. All right. Hello, how are you?
Hello,
Hi, how old are you?
I'm 20.
Awesome. Do you support Trump?
Yes, I do.
Awesome. Why is that?
Because he started enacting the SDI YBT bill.
SDI YBT bill. What is that?
Start digging your butt, twin.
Okay.
Yeah, you just need to start digging, bro.
All right. Still there, or what's up?
Yeah, sorry, I was just digging my butt.
All right. Cool, man.
You should join me. It's pretty cool.
All right, dude. They get so confused when they don't get hung up on. Hello, how are you?
How you doing?
I'm doing well. How about yourself?
Not too bad, not too bad.
Awesome. How old are you?
I am 37.
Awesome. Do you support Trump?
Yeah.
Awesome. Y'all, make sure you guys are hitting that subscribe button, supporting the live, doing all the fun stuff. Paid subs, paid members. Join the team. Love you guys. All right.
Hit like and subscribe.
Yeah, do all that stuff. Anyways, so why do you support Trump?
Well, because I would, to be honest, because I wasn't forced to get vaccinated under him. And as soon as Biden came in, they tried to force me. And
Who tried to force you?
Yeah, I'm not. Biden. They tried to get me. He actually got me jobless because of it. That I wouldn't take the jab, which was probably the smartest thing I ever done. And yeah, so I'm not like 6-time vaccinated or nothing. But he tried to ban us from going to all public events.
Unless you were in the military or certain public work sectors, you weren't forced by Biden to get a vaccine.
No, but he forced me or lose my job.
Where did you work?
I worked as a nurse.
Oh. Well, there were certain places where if you were getting funding from the federal government where you did have to have vaccine.
Yeah.
But again, sir, that's not
That's just my personal reason.
Well, no, that's fine. I totally support you, not wanting to get vaccinated and quitting. And I totally support them firing the fuck out of you. Yeah.
Yeah, me too. I mean, I'm just glad I didn't have to get the jab because some people are fucked 10 years down the road.
Oh, how's that?
Yeah, look at the effects. 38-year-olds having heart attacks already. Like, come on.
I'm
Hey,
38.
link back to the.
I didn't have a heart
Yeah,
attack.
you're lucky. You're lucky.
You do realize
Most
that
people
there's
probably don't do- You don't
38-year-olds.
do physical activity, so that's why.
Oh, I do a
Like,
lot
it's
of
many
physical
people who
activity.
do-
I actually do
Buddy,
hours
you're
of
fat.
physical
Come
activity
on.
today. A
You're
day.
fat.
I am getting a little
You're fat.
chubby, but I have been out of the gym because of my surgery.
No, you're fat. You're not chubby.
So-
You're fat.
All right, sir. Well, I understand that you want to talk about my body a lot, but I'd like to move on with the conversation. Okay.
Me too. But
I
mean, that's how you got
understand
there,
that.
right?
I understand your feral sexual attraction to me, which is why you can't stop talking about
Nah.
my body.
Mm.
I totally
Nah, I
get it.
actually
No,
have a
sir,
wife,
sir.
but thank you,
I
though.
understand.
I have a wife. I have a wife. I don't want
Does
none
your
of your
wife?
gayness near
does
me.
your
Please
wife
don't
know
have
you're
your
gay?
gayness near me.
Does your wife know you're gay?
Your wife does know you're gay. Yeah, she does know you're gay.
Oh, okay. Oh, his wife must have got him. Joan, thank you so much for the paid sub on TikTok. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Hello, how are you?
Is this the podcast thing?
How old are you?
Oh, mine. 37?
Awesome. Do you support Trump?
Yeah, supporting me is all right.
All right. So yeah, you are on live. So why do you support Trump?
I don't know, probably my family grew up like conservative and stuff like that. I was always, kind of taught to, lean more towards the right than the left, I guess. I mean, I'm not like super huge into politics or anything like that. I go out and vote when I can. Ran for state rep in Florida once and lost, but I mean, I guess there's like two sides to everything. I mean, it'd be cool if both of them supported the same stances when like they're common sense stances, but for some reason they gotta fight each other. Like either abortion, anti-abortion, pro-gun, anti-gun. I mean, it could be like pro-common sense. That would be a good one.
Well, see, that's your problem is actually that the Democratic stance isn't anti-gun. They are just pro-common sense when it comes to guns, right? And as far as abortion, nobody is pro-abortion. They're pro-choice, right? Which means we can just come to the agreement that people should be able to make decisions on their own. So when you're talking about freaking people being, like coming together and being like, not anti, not pro or anti and not, pro or for, when it comes to abortion, that's literally just describing the Democratic Party. That's where they're already at.
Yeah, I mean, that sounds good. I just wish, it'd be cool if they didn't try to regulate it into
It's
like
insane!
law. Like, oh, you want to get an abortion? Okay. Or you want to have your kid? That's fine. Let's not make it a law saying you can't do something. Same thing with the firearm. You want to have a firearm? That's okay. You want to shoot up a school? That's not okay.
Yeah, well, and that's the difference, right? The difference is that the right wants people to have unfettered access to weapons, so that they can do whatever and that way they can shoot up schools and I guess send thoughts and prayers afterwards. And the left says, hey, we should be able to study these and make sure that we can put safeguards in to make sure that the right people have guns and the right people are using them, and that they're stored correctly and locked up correctly, so atrocities don't happen. That's what the left says. The right says, hey, we should freaking stop, women from being able to control their bodies and to be able to make medical decisions on their own. And the left says, no, women are smart enough to talk with their doctors and be able to make those decisions without the interference of the government or a man involved in it. So that's what I'm saying when and again, this is not me like being like so pro-Democrat or anything like that. Like I'm not a Democrat even myself, but if you want to talk about this like middle ground and talk about, the policies that you're talking about, of not, trying to be so far either way, that's exactly what the Democratic Party is doing right now.
Yeah, I agree with that. People, it's weird because like they're trying to tell us that like one thing is absolutely right and like the other thing is bad. Like as a Republican and stuff, I mean, I don't hate anybody. I just think that some of the policies that are pushed way, way, way up at the top. These people I don't even know and don't even know about me, don't know me at all, are trying to tell me that I'm a bad person because I'm a Republican. And then there's people way, way, way up the top saying that Republicans are bad people because they're not Democrats. And like, we're pretty much, we're all Americans. I mean, I don't know.
Well, real Republicans wouldn't be supporting Trump anyway, so you could definitely be a Republican, and I don't think that you're a bad person whatsoever, but I do think that there is something to say about you. if we're at a spot where you're voting for somebody who supports things like fascism, who, again, cohorts with people like Epstein, who, like known offenders of children and stuff like that. Donald Trump, who brags about sexually assaulting women, who bragged about, grabbing them by the hoo-ha, who's an adjudicated sexual offender. I do have some type of questioning of your morality if your morality led you to support someone like that.
Yeah, no, I can understand that for sure. I mean, there's a lot of people. I mean, I'm not a a one voter issue type of person. Like I know a lot of my friends. I wouldn't say they're my friends. All my friends are dead. So a lot of people I know, like they're trans or LGBT or gay, and I'm like, I'm not gonna fag bash you or anything like that. I don't particularly believe.
Yeah, I'm not gonna let that rhetoric just freaking slide on my live. That's pretty disgusting. Anyways, Shirley, thank you so much for the $5 super chat. I just found your channel and I like to listen. Thank you so much for being here, Shirley. I really, really appreciate that. Thank you so much. That's very, very sweet. Someone needs to make sure she gets a membership before we get out of here. But thank you so much, Shirley. I really, really appreciate that. And welcome everybody who's new here. Make sure you guys are hitting that subscribe button. And we do this every single day. So I really appreciate you. Actually, I'll leave that up for a second. I love when new people show up. I love when new people are here. All right, I actually need to go back and find that. Go quick. Anyways, we're gonna move on to the next person. Keep this thing going. Hello, how are you?
Fuck you, nigger George. I will put a knee on your nigger.
Hello, how are you?
Hello?
Hi, how are you?
Hi, is this on the live?
It is. How old are you?
30.
Awesome. Do you support Trump?
I just want to hear your opinion about him.
Well, if you want to hear my opinion, then I can hang up and talk to somebody else. I'm only looking to talk to people that support Trump, but I do appreciate that.
And then we can go. What do you want to talk about?
I don't know, sir. You're the one who came up here, not the other way around. I didn't come to your live.
Okay, and that makes sense. No, you're right. I agree with that.
Yeah, so that's why I asked, do you support Trump?
I wouldn't say so much as I support him. I think that he's doing a better job than the last administration.
How's that?
I would say that we're getting things done. Wouldn't you?
You'd say that we got things done all the way through the Biden administration.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you. Say it again.
I said we got things done all the way through the Biden administration.
I wouldn't say anything got done through that administration.
The largest infrastructure bill in the history of the United States, a reduction in the inflation rate faster than any industrialized nation, the American Rescue Plan, the PACT Act, the Student Loan Forgiveness, Chips and Sciences Act, which isolated us from Asia when it comes to chip manufacturing. It goes on and on and on and on and on. Yeah, of those things that happened that happened under the Biden administration.
Immigration and prior history.
We did have significantly more immigration, but that wasn't what we were talking about. You said that nothing was getting done.
Not regular immigration.
Sir,
illegal.
we had big numbers of both of them. This is why I just call it immigration. Because we had higher numbers of both. But regardless of any of that, sir, you said that nothing was getting done. And I just named a whole bunch of things that were getting done.
Things on your scale that you think that were getting done.
What do you mean things that I think were getting done? That doesn't even make sense. These are pieces of legislation that were passed by Congress, signed by the president, that were freaking backed by the Biden administration that helped Americans.
You don't have a result from them. They're pointless.
We did have results from them, sir.
No, we didn't, because nothing got better. You can't admit that when you're saying that you did this and that and blah, blah, blah. It doesn't matter when there was no result.
Well, first of all, there have literally been tens of thousands of projects that either have been built or are in the process of getting built or are on their way to get built.
Right now? And how are those going right now?
Sir, if you would have let me finish my sentence, I would have already been done explaining it to you.
You've spoken plenty already.
Okay. Well, you're asking me a question that I was in the middle of answering.
Okay, go ahead. I'll apologize again. Go ahead, finish.
Okay. What I said was there are tons of projects that either are already completed, are in the process of being completed, or will be completed in the future, because that infrastructure bill was building stuff over the course of 10 years, right? So we're in the middle of all of that building right now. And I think we have new roads, new bridges, new infrastructure, new airports, new fiber technology, all sorts of different things that are being built across the United States due to that bill right now. So when you're saying it's not happening, that's just simply not true. Also, things like the PACT Act, where people, like veterans are getting all of that access to care for, things like burn pits and Agent Orange and all sorts of stuff like that. Those are things that they're actually getting benefits for in this exact moment. The Chips and Sciences Act, which was isolated us from chip manufacturing in Asia, already had one plant that was built and already opened up in Arizona that is freaking created hundreds of thousands of jobs that don't require anything higher than a high school diploma and pay six figures, and are already starting to produce chips under TSMC. And we have another 6 more plants that are on their way. So yeah, things that are happening right now.
I've never heard of that. What was that with the chip?
The Chips and Sciences Act?
The chips, and you said hundreds of thousands of jobs.
Well, yeah, it'll be hundreds of thousands of jobs with all 7 plants open.
No, you just said hundreds of thousands of jobs, and now you're saying, well,
sir, I said 1 plant is completely built, and I said 6 more are being built. So therefore, yes, that it will create hundreds of thousands of jobs. It's already created. I don't know exactly how many, right off the bat. I know it's already, I think, a lot.
You're counting for things that aren't existing yet, though.
Because, sir, when we pass legislation, okay, as a country, legislation doesn't happen by going, we sign a bill, and then tomorrow all 7 factories are just, you can't sign a bill that creates jobs and builds factories and then expect like 5 months down the road for all 7 factories to already be built and all of the jobs to already be created. These things take time. So yes, we are seeing the results of it. We're seeing the beginnings of the results of them, and we will continue to see more results of them going forward. So we've already seen some,
I don't think so,
and we're seeing more.
Bills don't create factories. Companies create factories. That's where I don't understand what you're saying from that, because you're saying like you signed a bill, now we're going to create all these jobs. No. Companies create these jobs, not bills.
Right. And what the bill did was it subsidized private companies, specifically TSMC, to build factories in the United States to be able to create those jobs here. It enabled those companies to be able to come here for a much cheaper cost in order to be able to build those chips, because what we found out is during COVID, we had a hard time accessing chips from Asia because of the shutdown of shipping lanes and markets and stuff like that. Then realizing that without those chips, we wouldn't be doing very good as far as our military and vehicles or any other type of electronics that use chips and semiconductors. So you sign the bill, subsidize the companies come here, the factories are built. So you're correct. The bill didn't specifically say like we are creating 1,000 jobs. It said we're going to give subsidies to these companies to come and build these factories, which will create those jobs.
Well, even so, to your point, you have very good points. I will appreciate that, and I'm not here to demean you or anything like that. I just want to hear your opinion. However, being an electrician, that's total bullshit, because you're talking about creating companies and manufacturing plants that take the most skilled workers and very, very sophisticated infrastructure, and you're talking about how you're going to just sign a bill and you're going to create these factories. And I know what you're saying, but it doesn't take people from outside. It takes very educated people from inside that have education that has gone into this, and that they can keep proceeding to create these things. It's not a manpower situation. It's a educational thing.
Well, and sir, that I understand what you're saying when it comes to like the education to create chips, but these jobs aren't to like engineer chips. Well, I mean, obviously there is that part of it, right?
Well, yes, it is, because that's exactly how they got made there in the first place.
Sir, can you let me finish? Yeah, thank you.
Yes, sir.
What I said was, yes, of course, there is a section of it that is, engineering the chips and all that sort of stuff. But the large majority of it is just creating the chips, right? Just actually putting them together, working the factories, working the machinery that causes that, right? Like your average manufacturer in a car plant, right? That works for like Ford, right? They don't need to understand how to create a car from scratch, right?
Where are you based out of?
Where am I? You mean where do I live?
Yes, I'm not going to
Florida.
ask you directly. Where are you based out of?
Florida.
Florida? You said Florida?
Florida, yes.
Yeah. Have you ever been to Micron in Virginia?
To where in
Where
Virginia?
they manufacture an extreme amount of microchips?
No, I haven't been to any place where
One
they.
of the highest
yeah.
producers of microchips in America?
Sure. I believe. I've not
Sure.
been there.
Yeah, you're not going to see third world people like off the boat, like you're trying to say, like, oh, bringing in thousands of jobs. No. You're
Whoa,
gonna
whoa,
see
whoa,
educated
whoa, whoa, whoa! Hold on, sir.
people.
What the fuck are you talking about? That's not what I said.
You literally said hundreds of thousands of jobs. Where the fuck are we going to get that manpower?
The manpower is they're put it in communities where factory workers already live and they have the manpower there.
Okay, name me one place that has hundreds of thousands of people needing a job.
Sir, it's not hundreds of thousands in one place.
That's
it's hundreds
what
of
you said, bro.
No,
It's your
sir,
fucking
it's
speech.
7. Look, sir, I don't know how to like make this like any more clear. It's 7 factories that are going to create hundreds of thousands of jobs between all of them. Okay? It's not one factory that creates 100,000 jobs. It's this factory creates 10, 15,000 jobs. This one creates 15, 20,000 jobs. This one creates 10,000 and all and on and on and on. And then you have 7 factories that are estimated. I think the correct number was like 115,000 jobs or something like that.
So we're not talking hundreds of thousands of jobs.
Sir, if you
what
want to play
said.
semantics instead of actually have a conversation, then I can just
Like your
excuse you
entire channel,
and move
which is
on to
you
the next.
breaking down pinpoints to where you make them fit, but you're mad when somebody calls you out on one.
No, sir, this is just a ridiculous
said
argument,
hundreds of
and I really
thousands
don't
of
care to
jobs.
have. Okay, sir, I'm sorry. Is that what you want? I apologize. I meant
I'm just
115.
saying,
I meant
have I not
100,000,
apologized to you
sir.
multiple times?
100,000 jobs. Does that make you feel better?
Did I not
Are
apologize?
you
to you? Now you're
out of
being, like, belligerent.
are your fifis a little bit better now?
You're just mad because somebody called
I'm
you
not
out
mad,
your
sir. I'm
bullshit.
trying to actually have a
Yes, you
conversation.
are.
I'm trying to have a
Dude, I called-
conversation,
you said
and
you have your
all right,
points
sir.
that are
I'm
written
going to
down
get
in front
this
of you, and
sentence
somebody
out,
called you
whether
out.
you like it or not. So you can either be here for it or you cannot be
ahead.
here for it. It doesn't matter to me.
I'm listening. Go ahead.
Okay.
I'm listening.
Awesome. So I said hundreds of thousands of jobs. I think the estimate was 115,000. It might have been more. It might have been a little less. I don't 100% remember, to be completely fucking honest with you. Okay. And it really doesn't mean that much to my argument whatsoever. Like whatsoever. But if you want to sit here and be like, oh, you said hundreds of thousands and it's only 100,000, like, dude, you're not trying to actually have a fucking genuine conversation with another human being, and it's really a waste of my time and yours.
No,
So if
that's
you'd
not
like to
true.
have a,
That-
I said I'm finishing the sentence whether you're here or not, and I'm not joking.
This
Okay.
isn't a sense, but okay.
All right, awesome. So if you'd like to actually have a genuine conversation, then we can have a genuine conversation. If not, I'll just move on to somebody that can. It doesn't bother me at all. But if you want to sit here and
we can
play
keep
like
going.
this pathetic child semantics game, then I'll just move on.
Whoa. I'm not. I haven't said anything like that to you. So why are you saying that to me?
No, I'm saying it to you because you're the one that's doing it.
No. You can't say that because
No, I just did. You're being a petulant child playing semantics, and I'm asking if you want to continue or not.
Let's both be adults here and talk, right?
No, sir, you chose not to be one, so I'm going to treat you as such. Not a big deal.
I wouldn't say that, but okay. Well, let's hear another point then. Let's move on to another topic.
Mm-hmm.
I'm here for you. You said you don't agree with Trump. Why?
Again, sir, we already went through this part of the conversation where I say that you came to my life.
But I can't ask you a question.
Okay. Well, you have a wonderful day, all right? We'll move on to the next caller. I really appreciate that. Mystic, thank you so much for the gifted membership on YouTube. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mystic. And whoever got that, make sure you send a big W in the chat for Mystic for joining the team. Make sure you join the Discord too. We got a lot of cool stuff like that over there. That's really, really awesome. Hello, how are you?
Hi, is this the live stream?
It is. How are you today?
I'm doing pretty good. That last conversation was kind of painful here.
Yeah, it was. I think it was painful for everyone, but that's why I just moved on. It was no big deal. So, how old are you, and do you support Trump?
So I'm 23. I'm out of the Bay Area, and I support Trump.
Awesome. Y'all make sure you guys are hitting that subscribe button or follow button if you're on Twitch or TikTok or YouTube or wherever you're at. Make sure you're hitting that follow button, subscribe button, turning on notifications so you know when new content is posted. Also, if you guys would like to support the live, gifting memberships is a great way to do it. And also, super chats are a great way to support the live. If you do super chat and want to support the live, I'll put it up on the screen just like I do with these. We'll talk about them. If you have questions, comments, concerns, or just want to say hi, great way to support the live, to keep lives like this going. So I really appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. Awesome. So why do you support Trump?
So I support him mainly for the issue of illegal immigration.
Okay.
I think that over the past few years, like I'm pro legal immigration. I'm okay with bringing educated people over to the country. I think that's a good thing. But I think that over the past few years, we've had way too much illegal immigration, and they get taken advantage of by the cartel. They get taken advantage of by people hiring them for below a living wage. And it hurts Americans, it hurts them, and that's why I voted for Trump.
Yeah, I just think it's kind of wild to say that, like, I don't support people being, oppressed. So I'm going to have a problem with the people that are being oppressed, not the oppressor.
Oh, no. So my point on that was that, like, I think that everyone should have a right to be able to immigrate legally. And I'm not saying that they're bad people because they're trying to make a better life for themselves. I'm just saying that there are real impacts that happen to everyday people.
There are real impacts. There are real impacts. But what I'm saying is, you're saying that companies are using and exploiting their labor, which on undocumented immigrants, which I 100% agree is horrific. But saying that in order to fix, their labor being exploited, I'm going to get rid of the people that are being exploited instead of electing people that are going to ensure that the companies can't exploit people. I think that's where I'm more concerned with. I'd much rather vote in people that are going to pass laws that make it much more difficult and make the punishments much harder for companies that are actually exploiting the labor of migrants. I think that's the horrible part.
I mean, I agree with you. I think that is like something that is super bad. I just think that, unfortunately, what you need in order to fix problems like this is you kind of need more of the heavy-handed approach that Trump has with it. Because we've had amnesty deals in the past, and we've tried to fix this in the past before, under Republicans, under Democrats. We've tried to fix this before without like going all the way. And sometimes you do have to do some things that like aren't necessarily super great for like those people on the ground, but in the long term, it will prevent more people from joining that system of being taken advantage of. And I think I agree with you that we should do some stuff to these corporations that are taking advantage of people. So I think it's like a two-pronged thing, but you need to go through the shitty part of it in order to get to a place that's better.
So, and maybe this is just my ignorance, but why do we need to get to a spot where we're sending people to foreign terrorism prisons or trying to deport people to civil war torn like Sudan in order to fix the problem?
So the issue is just mainly with following the rules for it. So there's a certain, like, you go through the port of entry, you do it the legal way.
Oh no, I don't disagree with that. I don't disagree with that, sir.
If you're not going through the proper channels,
not what I asked,
like
sir.
anything else,
I didn't disagree with you that people should be going through the proper channels. I said, why do I need to send people to get tortured in prison or send them to war-torn countries that they're not from in order to achieve that goal?
I think I'm a little confused with the question.
Let me make this clear. Okay,
like
Donald Trump is deporting people to El Salvador, to CICOT, to a literal terrorist prison, where people that have committed no other crime but, in some cases, illegal entry, are being literally tortured, starved, and treated inhumanely in a prison in a country they're not from. Okay. He is also trying to deport people to places like Sudan, which are in the middle of a civil war, experiencing famine, experiencing death at a very high rate. And he's trying to deport people to Sudan that aren't from Sudan and have never even been to Africa. Okay. These people are being freaking, again, starved, treated inhumanely, not given clean water, sexually assaulted in some cases, right? Why do I need to treat people so inhumanely to get to that goal?
So it's, First of all, it's about getting to a point where we don't have a bunch of people who are not citizens, they're second tier people. And when you have millions of people like that, it creates unsafe environments for them and for the communities around it.
First of all, second tier people is fucking wild. Second of all, you're not answering my question.
For a legal, I'm about to answer it. I was about to answer the point about sending them to other countries that they're not from. Can you name an example of that actually happening?
Again, sir, these are things that Donald Trump. But yeah, we've already deported people to countries that they're not from. El Salvador was the perfect example.
I would like to hear an example of it, because if that is that,
Kilmore Abrego Garcia was an example of that. He's the most famous one.
I'm okay with sending people to places where they're not from. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, Kilmore Abrego Garcia would be the most.
Provide an example of it.
I just did. Kilmore Abrego Garcia would be the most famous one.
What was the name?
Kilmore Abrego Garcia.
I mean, I'll have to take a look at it afterwards, but because I'm not familiar with the case. But like, if that is indeed happening, I'm not okay with that.
Yeah, and right here, I can put this up on the screen too, just for fun. U.S. completes deporting 8 men from various nations to South Sudan after weeks of legal battles.
Hang on. I want to make sure it's not like
got up on the screen right here.
Feedback if I play it, right?
Well, sir, I'm just you don't have to, I mean, I have it up on the screen for everybody else, but U.S. completes deporting 8 men from various nations to South Sudan weeks after legal battles. 8 men deported from the United States in May and held under guard for weeks at an American military base in the African nation of Djibouti while their legal challenges played out in court have now reached the Trump administration's intended destination, war-torn South Sudan, a country the State Department advised against travel due to crime, kidnapping, and armed conflict.
Well, I'll have to look more into that, but if that is the case, then no, I'm not okay with that.
Yeah, so that's when it comes to just deporting people, let's be very clear, okay? Deporting people at the rate that Donald Trump wants to try to deport people is not good for Americans. It's not good for the migrants. It's not good for anybody. Not to mention the fact that it's incredibly expensive. All right. And so we're paying a lot of money for it. And on top of that, these migrants, even undocumented migrants paid $100 billion in taxes last year in state and local and federal, taxes, right? So across the board. So we're spending our tax dollars to try to deport people who have committed no crimes except for illegal entry, who are working, paying into our economy, helping keep our economy going, right? Not to mention the fact that they're, a lot of times they're working a lot of jobs that Americans don't want to work. But more importantly is they're working jobs that we need worked because, currently as of, I haven't seen like the July numbers yet, but we're almost even with the number of job openings in the United States with the amount of unemployed people in the United States. So therefore, by trying to get rid of the estimated 11.6 million undocumented immigrants that are currently in this country, that'd be 11 million jobs that we need to somehow make up for and to actually, have people working, which we don't have the people for, right?
Okay. So I guess my question for you would be then, what would you propose as a solution for the people who are already here who haven't committed any crimes?
Yeah, so that's pretty simple, sir. Like I said, and for the people who've committed crimes, that's super easy. I know you said specifically not for, but the people who committed crimes, lock them up, put them in jail, deport them, whatever, right? Yeah, I think we can all very easily agree with that, right?
I think that's pretty easy one to agree on.
Yeah, but personally, I think that we should set a time limit and be like, hey, if you've been here for this amount of time, you haven't committed any crimes, you've been working, you've been contributing to society, you're an upstanding citizen as far as we're concerned, as working and going into, into our economy, then I think that we should open up a path for them to, first be here legally and work legally, maybe give them some type of, specialized work visa program to put them on some type of probation to be here legally and work legally. And then down the road to open up a pathway to citizenship.
And honestly, if we didn't have the past 40 years of history, I would be very much in favor of that. The only problem is I feel like a lot of the time what will happen is we'll grant a large amnesty or pathway to citizenship, but without actually solving the root problem, which is streamlining the legal immigration process and actually clamping down on entries. And one of the things that Trump has done that has been working is entries are down to almost record lows. They have been much lower than they were under Biden. And there's also the other side of it. I'm just going to take you for your word and say that he is supporting people to these fucked up places. And that's not okay. I don't agree with that. But there's also the flip side of that, because when you have a president like Joe Biden, where the environment feels better for people to cross illegally, You get people taking advantage of cartels. You get people getting sold into like borderline slavery. Like you have this underground of people, and no one in the United States should have to live like that.
Hold
No
on.
one outside should have to live
Can we
like
just
that.
pause really quick on that? What makes you
Go ahead.
think that if people think they can come in here, it makes them more likely to be subjected to cartels, as opposed to if they feel like they can't get in, they'd be more subjected to cartels, right? Because cartels have things like tunnels, they have ways around the Border Patrol without getting caught, right? That's what the cartels have been good for. They've used all sorts of different tactics in order to get around Border Patrol to not go through ports of entry. And what the Donald Trump's encounters, most of the reason why his encounters are down is because encounters are down at legal ports of entry. Right. So what's telling me that what tells either of us that because encounters are down, at ports of entry, doesn't that make sense that people would be more likely to now go to the cartels because they still want to get here, whether it's legal or not? And if they don't have the ability to get here legally, then why would they not go to more of a criminal way of doing it?
So the issue is that it would have been illegal either way. We're enabling it to be easier for the cartel and for them to move people at a larger volume. I'm talking about trying to downscale the amount of people who are impacted by that. And the only way to do that is to strictly enforce border control.
Well, hold on. First of all, okay, there was 685,000 deportations under the Biden administration just in 2024. And the overwhelming majority of those deportations were at the southern border. So saying that, we weren't, clamping down on things like that and we're making it easier for cartels, right? That's just simply not true. Actually, if you actually look at the amount of like drugs that were stopped under the Biden administration last year, way up, right? If you're looking at the number of of trafficking cases that were stopped under the Biden administration, way, way, way up, right? So they were stopping people. They were vetting people. They weren't letting undocumented migrants in. You do understand that, right?
Well, they might not have been trying to do it intentionally, but the result of their actions and their policies.
How many undocumented immigrants do you think came in?
Coming through.
What number of undocumented immigrants do you think came in under Biden?
What number do I think?
What number? Well, I mean,
I don't
there's
have the numbers up here right in front of my screen, but probably a couple million per year.
No, 1.7 million total.
1.7 million.
Total.
1.7 million people
projected
entered illegally.
Right, projected, because again, we don't know. These aren't people that were let in. These were people that snuck around Border Patrol. These are people that, hopped the wall or came in, overstayed their visas or, whatever they were doing. These are people that the Biden administration didn't let in. There was just people that were snuck in. So we're projecting that number, right? And there was there was over 800,000 in Trump's term, right? In his first term, right? So again, it's not this like incredibly like overwhelming amount. Like what was the majority of the people that were coming into the United States under the Biden administration were asylum seekers. That's where most of your immigration was coming in from.
All right. I just want to just say something just real quick. So you said it was under Trump, it was 800,000. Under Biden, it was 1.7.
Yeah, something like that.
Okay. I feel like though that 900,000 is kind of a big deal. Like it's a large amount of people.
Well, I think the first 900,000 is a big deal also.
I don't disagree with you, but I mean, like if you can get a difference of 50% between one administration and the other, I feel like that's
the circumstances changed. It wasn't the same circumstances though.
Circumstances are always changing, but
right, but we don't like we judge different things based off of different circumstances, right? Like when circumstances change, we change our view of things, right?
Yeah. And
like if I can run like a 4.40, I can't, by the way. All right, but if I can run a 4.40, right, and then I lose a foot, do you go, oh well, obviously he can't run that fast anymore. That's probably his fault. No, you take into the circumstance like, wow, the fact that he could run 40 yards without a foot, that's pretty fucking impressive. It would, no matter what time it is, right? And so that's what I'm saying. That's the big difference that I'm looking at. We had a destabilization of the Northern Triangle in Central America and in parts of Northern South America that happened due to COVID, right? So you had a huge destabilization of the region, which caused for like a larger amount of people, specifically people that were trying to seek asylum, that were coming to the United States, right, in order to seek asylum from the countries that were having all of these problems due to COVID. Well, the Biden administration was not letting all of those asylum seekers coming in. Now, there was a lot that they did let in too, right? And gave them court dates, vetted them, made sure they came in the country. But there was also a large portion of them that they didn't let in, and they turned them back around. They stopped them at the border. They deported them back to where they came from, whatever, right? Well, now you have all of those people that tried to come here, seek asylum or whatever, or didn't think they had an asylum claim to begin with. Those same people are still trying to get out of their countries that their countries had like large problems. You know what I'm saying? And now they're rushing the border, and now they're trying to get in, and that's why the numbers were so high, is because we didn't have the ICE agents, we didn't have the border protections in place to be able to stop such a high number of people that were trying to get over here. All right. Donald Trump didn't have that problem. Right. Actually, I mean, if you actually look at, Obama was called like the deporter in chief. There was no huge destabilization of the region. Right. So yes, he had 800,000 or so or whatever under his term, but under a completely different circumstance than what was Biden's circumstance. And I think that looking at that within context tells a lot also. Now, do I think Biden could have done better at the border? Yeah, I absolutely think he could have done better at the border. Do I really wish that all of the actual legislation that Biden tried to get passed that was blocked by either the Republicans or in one case specifically Trump, right, could have gotten passed, so we fixed immigration a long time ago and we fixed it more effectively? 100%. I wish all of those things, all right? But just saying because more people showed up because of a situation that is completely out of Biden or Trump's control is somehow Biden's fault. I just can't agree with that.
I mean, so I understand what you're saying, but also like to say like he didn't have the resources, like the Department of Homeland Security operates underneath the authority of President of the United States. Like if he wants to redirect like resources, he can redirect those resources.
Incorrect.
Like for the Coast Guard, like the Coast Guard I live in the Bay, the Coast Guard does deployments out to Asia, goes up to Alaska, these huge like $100 million cutters that they have. And since Trump has been in office, they've redirected all those ships to go down to the southern border to do counter drug, counter migration. Like it's a redirection of resources. You don't necessarily need more resources. You just need to be using them for what their intended objective is. And I don't think that we should be sending them to go like dance around in Asia. We should be sending them to do their actual job.
Well, see, but that's not their actual job. See, and that's the problem. When you actually send people like the military down to do immigration stuff, they can't actually do anything because they don't have the authority to like actually arrest people.
The Coast Guard does have the authority.
In waters.
It's under the Department of Homeland Security, not
they have the right in water.
Well, they have the right to board vessels.
Right, but there's already Coast Guard stationed in places like San Diego to already do that. Okay, that's not stopping the majority.
San Diego Coast Guard is much smaller than what they have in the Bay Area. The major assets are in the Bay.
Sir, the overwhelming majority of people that are coming across the southern border are not coming through the water.
No, I agree with you. I'm just using it to illustrate the point that you can redirect resources.
But we didn't need more people in the water. And sure, if you want to send more people to the water, sure, whatever. That's fine. What Biden's pieces of legislation did would have added more border patrol agents and added more people at the border and added more technology at the border in order to actually patrol the southern border more effectively. And that you can't freaking just move resources in. You need funding, and the only people that can provide that funding is Congress, and the Republicans in Congress refuse to pass it.
Well, I mean, that just goes down to like politics. Like at the end of the day, a lot of the time those bills are bundled with a bunch of other stuff onto it, and that's where the disagreements happen.
But it wasn't.
So, I mean, it can go both ways. Like there's times when Republicans are trying to push something through and be like, oh, the Democrats won't let us do this because they pushed a bunch of other Republican things in the bill. It goes both ways on that.
Sir, there wasn't a whole bunch of other things in the bill, and the Republicans wrote it.
For which bill?
The Lankford bill, Senator Lankford from Oklahoma. Yeah, is a staunch conservative and a very big Republican, and also a Trump supporter, and he was the primary writer of the bill.
And this was the bill under the Biden administration?
Mm-hmm. Had 98% support under in the Senate. 98%. The two people that didn't, the 2% that didn't were actually Democrats that actually didn't like the bill because they thought it was too strict. Yep. and
Okay.
it was written by Republicans, and it was a team of a Republican, a Democrat, and an independent who happened to be an immigration lawyer. Funny enough, but yeah, it was written by the Republicans. They were the ones that signed off on it. They had 100% of the Republicans were on board with the bill, and the only reason it didn't pass is because Donald Trump told them not to pass it.
Well, I mean, I think this comes back to the problem with the modern Republican Party, that they tend to focus on just one person too much. Like when Trump wasn't in power, like they probably should have just passed that bill. I don't disagree with that.
Yeah, but again, like, sir, you're saying that, oh, like, the Biden administration didn't do this, didn't do that, blah blah blah. But when you actually when you actually look
Before
into
Trump
it,
even got the resources to increase the border, I'm saying that he was already redirecting assets.
sir,
Like, that's
but
something
he's
that
the
you
only
can't do.
reason
Like,
those
he can
assets
use
weren't
the National
there,
Guard to help reinforce the border. Like he can redirect resources.
sir. But the only
that
reason
doesn't
that
mean that
he
he
had
can
the
just-
ability to redirect resources is because he stopped the resources from getting there to begin with.
But how did
He
he stop
sto-
the resources from being diverted under Obama? Or sorry, not Obama.
No, sir.
under Biden.
Again, the bill had the money in it to add more border patrol to be able to do all of the things that we needed to do. He stopped it.
Yeah, no, I understand what you're saying. Like I understand, and I agree with you with what you're saying, that probably should have been passed. What I'm saying is that in lieu of that bill being passed, he still could have redirected the resources he had on hand. That was
What
the point I was
resources, sir?
trying to make.
Again, the National Guard has no law enforcement ability at the southern border. Okay, they're actually sitting down there. I actually have some friends whose whose kids are deployed down there, and they call them all the time, like saying they're just like out there like partying in El Paso and freaking like getting drunk the whole time because they're not doing anything. They don't have any law enforcement, ability at the southern border. The people whose job that is Customs and Border Protection. Well, now with the new bill, now that Customs and Border Protection is actually going to be able to hire people and all that sort of stuff. But that whole like National Guard thing was just a ploy. It was just the Republicans, just saying they were doing XYZ in order to make themselves look good. And I'm sure that Coast Guard thing was probably pretty similar. I don't know as much about that, but the end of the day is like you're talking about the resources. At the end, after Biden realized that the bill wasn't going to pass because Trump stopped it, then they did executive orders to shut down the borders. But those things are temporary. We could have had the first comprehensive immigration comprehensive immigration reform, the first like true immigration bill since the 1960s. We could have had that done, but now we don't because Trump stopped it. So I'm sorry. I'm not going to sit here and give Trump credit for stopping an immigration problem that would have been stopped 2 years ago if it wasn't for him.
I just like he was not in power at the time.
I know, which makes it even more disgusting.
It was Biden. Biden could have redirected those resources at the time, but he didn't do it. And you can say that he signed executive orders, but the results do not pan out to what.
Sir, what resources? The National Guard does not have the ability to do anything.
They can assist. They can't do any.
They can point and look. They can go, look, they're over there.
They can assist in non-law enforcement situations.
So let me get this straight. Donald Trump stopped us from actually having law enforcement agents at the border. And you, instead of freaking being like, wow, Trump's a piece of shit, he shouldn't have done that, right? You instead go, well, Biden should have sent a whole bunch of other people there whose job that wasn't, and would have had to take them away from their actual jobs that they actually have things that they're supposed to be doing within the National Guard. We should have taken them away from their actual jobs that are actually helping the American people, put them down at the southern border where they don't have the authority to do anything.
They don't have the authority to do law enforcement, but they can still assist
in law enforcement activities. Okay, then how are they going to assist?
How are they going to assist? They can assist with like getting paperwork processed. They can assist with construction of facilities. They can help down there with the non-law enforcement requirements for Border Patrol.
Paperwork wasn't the issue.
No, paperwork was not the issue, but infrastructure was.
And Biden was building the wall himself, so.
No, he wasn't. He left.
Yes, he was. He wasn't building Trump's wall.
Materials in storage over the course of his presidency.
And then got new materials and filled up tons of gaps in the freaking wall across the southern border.
Well, why did he leave all the stuff that Trump already had? He had already laid it out. Like Biden could have taken those resources and used them, but he didn't. He put
Because
them in
Donald
facilities,
Trump's
and he left
wall wasn't working. It was already falling apart and completely not doing what it was supposed to. Not to mention those things that were already set out there were set out there, and during the Trump administration, by the time Biden even got to them, they were all rusted and falling apart anyway, which is why he got rid of them.
Where were they rusting and falling apart?
At the
where's
southern border.
Like,
wasn't being built.
like where at the southern border? Where,
all sorts. I'm
falling
assuming
apart?
at both ends of the wall. I don't know. I don't know the town if that's what you're looking for. I could find it if you really
I'm
need me
just
to.
curious because, like, if that is the case, then that is a valid reason. But if that's not the case, then like that completely negates the point you just made.
What?
Like, if the materials were actually falling apart, like all across the border, and it was such a big issue that they had to house all this stuff for a higher price than it would have been to just put it in, then it would make sense, yeah. But if that was not the case, and it was like an isolated incident on like one specific section, then it wouldn't have made sense. Like the point would not stand if it's not the entire thing that's just falling apart. Because it costs more to house it than it does to put it in the ground.
Sir, did you not think it was being housed in a certain place under the Trump administration?
Well, yeah, but they were putting it in. They weren't continuing to store it.
Sir,
Like,
how many miles
the
of wall
storage
did
costs
Donald
money.
Trump build?
Say again?
How many miles of wall did Donald Trump build?
How many miles of wall?
Of new wall did Donald
I don't
Trump
know
build?
the exact number off the top of my
It's
head.
49.
Can you tell me? 49 miles of wall.
Yeah, across a 2,000-mile border. 49 miles.
Okay.
Okay. Donald Trump was not throwing up this wall at some like freaking excessive rate, and then Joe Biden came and stopped it. Yes, he did halt freaking new construction of Donald Trump's wall, but Donald Trump's wall sucked, and it wasn't fixing the problem.
Oh, but why does it suck?
Because
Like,
our
what
problem
makes it
isn't with
suck?
the wall. I can show you freaking videos of literally freaking migrants, like freaking not even like in shape migrants hopping that border wall in about freaking a minute. Okay, because a wall doesn't mean anything unless you have the border protection agents around the wall to make sure that nobody's crossing it. Just a wall
and
doesn't do anything.
I don't disagree with you on that, but the wall does help. It's an obstacle
does not.
that they then have to overcome. It's a stopping point.
They were overcoming it in less than 5 minutes.
Well, it's like we were talking about, though. It's not just the wall; it's infrastructure as well. But that wall is a part of what helps, right?
No,
That
it is
helps.
not.
It slows down. Yes, it does.
It does not. So you can just keep saying yes, it does. All you want. Okay. Like you can say yes, it is. Like you can go like all you want. But when the wall has holes in it that people are walking through, when the wall has tunnels on it that people are just walking straight through, when the wall can be climbed and people can just jump over it in a matter of a couple of minutes, then no, the wall is not doing anything.
All right, this is going to be one of those points where I'm going to be like, it is effective, and you're going to say it's not effective, and we're going to have different measures on what effectiveness is.
Can you please?
It's not
Okay.
to permanently stop everyone from getting in. It's to slow them down enough that Border Patrol has time to respond to those areas.
All right, cool. Then under your circumstances, then Donald Trump's wall should have significantly helped immigration under the Biden administration because there was 49 miles of new wall. I think there was another like 400 of secondary wall that Donald Trump built. If all of that wall was working so well, then why did we have an immigration problem under the Biden administration?
Because, like we talked about, the wall is not the only thing, right?
No,
It's
either the wall
enforcement.
helps or it doesn't. I said it's not helping
But
whatsoever.
it's like
You're
what we
saying
were
it
talking
is
about
helping.
before about
How
different
is it helping
circumstances,
if Donald Trump built all of this wall and then, right after that, we had this horrible immigration crisis that you're talking about with the Biden administration. If the wall was working, then we wouldn't have had that issue, right?
But I thought that you said it was because of COVID that's why why the numbers surged. So if
They
that was
did.
the case, we wouldn't have a clear-cut sample size for how the wall performed versus how,
Gotcha.
because-
So the wall only works under certain circumstances in which we don't have surges. I would assume if the wall was that effective, it would work actually specifically more when we have surges.
But you said the circumstances were different. And if the circumstances are different, then it's not a before and after test because there's no control.
Sir, under the
That was
Trump
whole point of
administration,
why
we
you
had
said
plenty
that
of
Joe
time.
Biden was doing a lot
Sir.
you said that Joe Biden was doing a lot for the border, but because of the COVID-19 pandemic that happened, that caused all the destabilization, all these people flooding through the southern border, Like you're saying that because of that, we can't look at his policies just as his policies and the results of them because it's not clear cut.
I
Well,
completely
you can't
agree,
then turn around
sir.
and then say that the 49 miles of wall should have
Sir,
made this massive difference.
I'm not making the claim that the wall is effective. You are.
Yeah.
Okay.
I am.
So you don't get to say the wall is effective. Okay. And then say right on top of that, well, you said the circumstances changed. Yes, the circumstances changed because the wall wasn't effective before or after. Okay. If you know what also changed with the circumstances? The building of the wall by Trump. That also changed the circumstance. So if the building of the wall was effective, then it should have affected that to a high degree also, but it didn't. Okay, because the wall is not an issue. Okay, it's just simply not. All right, and even if you want to talk about building the wall, hell, even in that Senator Langford bill that would have been passed into the Biden administration, there was money in there to build the wall. So that still would have fixed the problem.
I wasn't
Okay,
against that bill. Like I'm not saying that. I'm saying that's something that probably should have been passed. Like I'm not disagreeing with you on that.
yeah. Well, anyhow, all right. Well, I don't know how long I've been on the phone with you. Let's see. About 30 minutes.
It's been a minute.
Yeah,
but-
that's about fine. I'm going to move on to the next caller, but I do really appreciate you, all right?
Yeah, thanks. It was a great conversation. You have a good one.
Have a good one, man. Bye. I don't know. I felt like we were on, I felt like we were there and then like we just kind of went away. I don't know. It felt like he was with me and then we just like weren't there. I don't know what happened. But Shay, thank you so much for the $50 super chat. I really, really appreciate that. Thank you so much for that. That is very, very sweet. W's in the chat for Shay. I really, really appreciate the huge $50 super chat. That is really, really sweet and really, really means a lot to me. So thank you so much. All right, we're gonna leave that up for a bit because that's just cool. We got like the little cheerleader and everything's going on over there. That's really awesome. So, y'all, if y'all would like to support, I do have super chats open, super stickers, all the fun stuff over there. So, if you like support, that's a great way to do it. Also, we do have memberships open. We've already had one gifted membership today, and I think one TikTok sub today. We're trying to get up to 250 on the TikTok side, and I think on the membership YouTube side, I think we're trying to get to 125. I think we need like 14 more to hit that 125. So if you'd like to become a member, like to become a paid sub, I can't do it on Twitch yet because I just have to finish setting up all that stuff, but we'll get that going soon too. So if you guys want to help donate or you guys want to send gifts and memberships and stuff like that, that's a great way to help support the live. For less than 50 cents a day, you could support a live creator just like me. In the arms of an angel, for less than a cup of coffee a day. But for real, y'all, if you guys like support, I'd like to gift memberships or subs or anything like that. I really appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. I have them set pretty reasonable and stuff like that. So if you'd like to be part of the team, we really love you here and we appreciate having you. But make sure, guys, you hit that follow button. You hit that you hit that follow button, you hit that sub button, turn on your notifications. We do this every day but Thursday. I am going back to my normal schedule starting tomorrow. So I'll be back on about 6:30, between 6:30 and 7 o'clock tomorrow evening. So, but we're going to keep this thing going today. We're going to keep this thing rolling. I really appreciate that. Thank you guys so much. Native, thank you so much for the sub on TikTok. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Hello, how are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing excellent. How old are you?
27.
Awesome. Do you support Trump?
Yes.
Awesome. Why is that?
I just wanted to come on here and say you're just a dumb nigger, man. So just hope you figure that out.
All right, man. Well, you got anything else?
Nope. Just enjoy your day and your poverty, you stupid black nigger. Have a good day.
All right, I will. I will enjoy my day. Just thought I'd let you know that. Enjoying it already, honestly. All right, there we go. Nice. Hello, how are you? Hello?
I will enjoy my day.
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing okay.
Awesome. How old are
Sorry
you?
about some of the demeaning calls.
Don't worry about him. He's more ignorant than I am, man.
Yeah.
Yep. If he wants
Um,
to use rhetoric like that, that's his problem, not mine, bro.
Yeah, that is. We are called to have grace in our speech at all times. Just was scrolling on my phone not long ago, and your stream had popped up, and so the first thing you want to know is what I'm 32, and yeah, I support Trump because of some of the domestic policy, international policy differences from the Democratic Party. Some of the thoughts on abortion, some of the hot topics, abortion, immigration, some of the biological differences between men and women, homosexuality, transgenderism, men and women's sports.
So weird, dude.
Overall, the government not having as much of a say in my own life, having some autonomy for what I would like to accomplish and how I go about my life, and having my vote count through my local and state policy.
Awesome. So you want to be able to have your rights and freedoms by taking away the rights and freedoms of other people. Copy. So you talked about his foreign policy. Let's dig into that. So what about his foreign policy do you support?
So first, I don't want to take away anybody else's
Yes, you
say.
do.
So, well, that's the power of the vote, right? So I'm able to go to the polls and
No.
and a lot of, well, that's how it works, right?
No, you can't have a vote
I'm
on
able-
whether people or not have human rights. Nope, not at all.
Well,
People get human rights according to the Constitution of the United States, and there is no vote that's going to be able to take away people's human rights. Now, people continually try to, and by people, I just mean Republicans, and specifically people under the Trump administration who try to take away others' rights to things like their own body, and to try to take away, the rights of other human beings, or to say that, they're not legitimized, or try to demonize people, calling people vermin, other things like that. That's specifically what Republicans do and have been trying to do for like a long time, and they're currently really in full speed on all of that, right? So, but you for some reason think that your ability to live your life is somehow, affected by somebody else living their life that's not having any effect on you.
Well, there's potential. As I have a daughter, there would be potential effects in my own life. She's not quite old enough for it to probably materialize yet, but some of the direction of some of maybe the men and women's sports or transgenderism topics, how that had the direction it was going recently, may have come about in my own life personally. I wouldn't say, it has yet.
Gotcha. So we have rising inflation across the United States. We're seeing prices, especially within grocery prices, going up at a significantly high rate. Hold on, sir. We have a break from our allies. Our allies don't trust us. They're building up their militaries in order to because they say that they can't trust us anymore, and have shown a complete disrespect for that. We have military members that are being deployed to fight wars for other countries at a higher rate than we were before, and you are okay with all of that because some trans person may affect your daughter's life in the future. And Donald Trump's little executive order that affected 12 people that you can't name is something that we should worry about, huh?
I would we're grouping in a whole bunch of different things, and if I am allotted the same amount of time that you had graced with some of the past few callers, maybe we can go kind of point by point.
We don't need to go there. There was only one point there, sir. There was only one point. The point was you are more concerned with an executive order that affected 12 people that you can't name
for what? What are you talking about? What?
How many people were how many trans people were in the NCAA?
there were a decent amount.
12. The answer is 12.
So
That's why I said 12 people.
Not just in the NCAA, in sports in general.
Well, Donald Trump's executive order doesn't affect sports in
there's a
general.
lot.
It only affected the NCAA. So I don't
Yeah.
care about a
So
lot
then-
across the board.
so-
I'm talking about Donald
well,
Trump's
I
executive
also-
order, which was 12. And I would,
Okay.
and can you please name me 3 of them? Tell me what sports they played and what schools they went to.
Well, I would have to look that up.
Gotcha.
Right?
So
You're
12
asking for names
people.
on the spot. Well, sir, can I?
So 12 people that you don't even
Okay.
know their names and have had zero effect on your life. You are literally voting for 12 people that have no effect on you whatsoever.
So, okay. So, that you made a point that Trump's executive order only enforces across the NCAA.
It actually doesn't even
because
enforce
there's
there.
because there's federal funding involved.
It
He
doesn't
has
really
no-
enforce there. It suggests there.
Okay, so he has no say in that. Goes back to my original statement. One of the biggest reasons why I would support Trump over, or the Republican Party, some conservative values over the Democratic Party, is because we actually do have the right to say what's going on in our own lives. So we have 50 states. Each state can vote on whether or not their state wants abortion.
Yeah. Each
completely
state
separate.
now gets to vote whether they get to rip their rights away from women or not. So you're saying that you are happy that now states can get to decide whether they take away other people's rights or not.
Yes, I am more happy.
Congratulations,
that-
I guess. I guess if you're cool with
I
the people
can
not
do
having
it.
rights and freedoms on their own.
Well, sir, there are a lot of women that also voted to not have abortion.
Yes, people vote against their
amongst the different states.
people vote against their best interests all the time.
Well, I'm
Almost
not
20% of
saying
black
have
men
to-
vote in the United States voted for Trump also, but it doesn't mean that it was
Yeah.
the smart or right thing to do. We like to call that roaches for raid.
Okay, so we don't know. Well, that's demeaning in some of the vermin that you were mentioning earlier that I would be espousing on other people. To say that African American men who voted for Trump are raised. What'd you say? Roaches with rays? What is that? That doesn't sound too.
Sir, if you're going to try to
grateful
criticize
to me.
my rhetoric, you should probably get the rhetoric right first.
Okay, well, that phrase is a new one, so it'd have to be repeated.
It is not a new one.
But
We've been
you had
using that
said
for a long time. How about chickens for KFC? Does that help out a little bit better?
No, that I have not heard of that one either.
Yeah, it's people that are literally people voting
So-
against their best interests. It's just a term.
So you think that the federal government should have a mandate and control what's going on in people's lives?
No, I don't think the federal government nor the state government should decide whether women can make decisions about their own bodies with their doctor.
Okay. And it is a very difficult situation, but a big part of that, that the reason for which I've do not support abortion are the percentages of which the abortion has derived from. So yes, there's some very, very difficult circumstances, ectopic pregnancies, rape. There's some other difficult situations, like a most recent one where a lady who is a surrogate, she ended up getting breast cancer, and in order for her to have her cancer treated, they had to remove the baby early. So yeah, there's very difficult situations. I think the vast majority of abortions are derived from unprotected sex, and they would be healthy pregnancies, no issues. People just they didn't face the reality and weren't understanding the consequences of such actions.
Sir, what percentage
And-
what's percentage of abortions have the ability to kill a woman?
I'm not sure.
Oh, it's easy. It's 100%. Okay. 100% of abortions have the ability to kill a woman. 100% of abortions have the ability to have drastic effects on a woman's health for the rest of their lives and cause damage to their bodies, both internally and externally, that they can never recover from. And there is a ton of freaking a ton of ways in which that parasitic relationship, in which the fetus feeds off of a mother, can drastically hurt a mother's life and her well-being. Okay, so that's why we have. That's why it's so important that a doctor and a woman are able to make that decision on their own. See, it's not your job to decide if, a woman had unprotected sex, so now you need to stick your nose in it because you don't know what the type of medical decisions that are happening are and with that person, or the situations in which other people could be hurt by her, by her carrying on that pregnancy. Okay? Because there could be a situation where you can't have it. And don't give me the whole abortion or give the whole adoption thing, because our adoption system is completely overflooded and those children end up in freaking horrific situations on top of that. And they're not being adopted at any sort of rate whatsoever. I think there's over, I don't even remember the last numbers that I read on the amount of children that were within the adoption system that are being just left do freaking nothing. It's really, really sad that the way that's going on. But the big thing really is just in your kind of terms, I think that you could more likely understand, is just mind your own fucking business. I think that's my favorite way to freaking handle this entire situation. See, it isn't, while I have a lot of stats and data, and we could talk about abortion, like that 99 point, I believe it's 99.2% or 99.1% of abortions happen before the 20th week of carrying, when there is not even any sentience or any, ability to have viability whatsoever.
Repeat that last.
And 99.1% of abortions, I believe, are before the 20th week. So before even sentience or anything like that. And we could talk about the numbers like that, the number how abortions are taking place, all the different medical terms like ectopic pregnancies that you talked about, or we could talk about all the people like Amber Thurman or Nevaeh Crane, or people that have died on the medical table because of these certain states that are putting in abortion laws that are affecting these women's lives. But I think the easiest way to just talk about it, to be completely honest with you, is you and I can't have a fucking abortion. So how about we let women make decisions with their doctors on their own and stay the fuck out of it?
Yeah. So I would think that men, there are cases where men would have liked to have that baby and it didn't work out because the woman ended up having an abortion.
Why? So I don't care.
Okay.
What does that have to do with anything? Is the man have a chance of dying from that pregnancy? Does the man have a chance of dying from that pregnancy? Yes or no?
Well, you talk about some hypotheticals.
How many men have died because their wives or girlfriends were pregnant?
I wouldn't be able to tell you the suicide numbers.
No, not suicide. Died as a direct result of the pregnancy.
Well, that could be a direct result. But again, so
that would be what's called an indirect result, sir.
So you told me to mind my business, and or indirect result. You told me to mind my business. So I could get on board with that, as there is a lot of minding my own business in my own life. However, I am then financially invested in it, as it's something like, is it plus 50% of our federal budget goes to Medicaid, social services, Medicare, of which a lot of abortions are funded through those
Incorrect.
Means. So
and
then
a lie.
My tax dollars come. Are you sure?
Yes. Have you ever heard of the Hyde Amendment?
What part of that is a lie?
Have you ever heard of the Hyde Amendment?
What does the Hyde Amendment say?
The Hyde Amendment specifically forbids federal tax dollars from going to fund abortions.
Okay. And so how then are they funded?
By people paying for them.
People pay for their abortion. Every single person that goes in for an abortion pays for it.
Well, I assume sometimes some would, like, maybe their parents help them, or their husbands or whatever, friends, something. But yeah, it's paid out of pocket 100% of the time.
Okay. I'm I would have to look and see where some things are like, where does Planned Parenthood get their funding?
Planned Parenthood gets some of their funding for all of the other services that they do from the government, but less than 5% of the health medical services that Planned Parenthood does is abortion.
Okay.
The rest of the
So it's
funding,
not
which is
through,
now
like,
being ripped away from Planned Parenthood, has everything to do from, I mean, cervical cancer screenings, or birth control, other different types of contraceptives.
Okay.
Yeah, Planned Parenthood does a lot of really,
That's
really good
interesting,
stuff.
because I've always been under the impression, though, and I'd have to look it up, that there's a lot of funding, a lot of taxpayer dollars that go into this process.
No, there is zero taxpayer dollars that go into the process. Again, there is funding for other essential medical acts that happen to, that get funded by, to Planned Parenthood and other organizations like that from the federal government. But abortion is not one of them. It can't be, specifically because, like I said, it is forbidden by the Hyde Amendment.
Yeah. I'll have to go and check that out. And then the other part of that is, I think that life is contrived at the very beginning, before 20 weeks, when sperm meets egg, and and so I do not agree with the amount of life that is lost on what I believe to be a vast amount of abortions that wouldn't have any ramifications on anybody.
Yeah, you don't
if
actually
they
believe that,
decided.
though.
I do believe that.
All right, then why
Why
does life start at conception?
Well, because as a Christian, myself, I believe that where it says in the Bible that God knew me in the womb, that He knew me and He knows my future and all my future generations.
The Bible doesn't say that
already. It does say that He knew us in the womb.
No, it says He knew Jeremiah in the womb.
No, it
says Jeremiah, I knew you in the womb. You want me to pull up the verse? It's Jeremiah 5, I believe.
He knows us in the womom.
No,
So
He knew Jeremiah in the womb, according to the Bible. I can pull it up. I believe it's, let's see. Jeremiah. Let's see. Jeremiah 1:5. Let's pull up the whole verse. Read full chapter. The words of Jeremiah, son of Hilkiah. Let me put up on the screen for everybody, so I can make sure everybody knows I'm reading from the Bible, New International Version. The words of Jeremiah, son of Hilkiah, one of the priests of Anathoth in the territory of Benjamin. The word of the Lord came to him in the 30th year of the reign of Josiah, son of Ammon, king of Judah, and through the reign of I don't know how to pronounce that dude's name, son of Josiah, king of Judah, down to the 5th month of the 11th year of Zedekiah, son of Josiah, king of Judah, when the people of Jerusalem went into exile. The word of the Lord came to me, saying, before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart. I appointed you as a prophet to the nations.
No.
Yeah. He's talking to Jeremiah. Alas, sovereign Lord, I said, I do not know how to speak. I am too young. And the Lord said to me, but do not say I am too young. You must go to everyone I send to you and say whatever I command you. Do not be afraid of them, for I am with you and will rescue you, declares the Lord. Yeah. So unless you are Jeremiah, son of Josiah, king of Judah, the Bible does not say He knew you, in the womb before you were born. But besides any of that,
plenty of parts in the Bible where there were specific commands maybe to somebody in particular, but then it conveys to all of us as a whole. And then there are other parts of the Bible, stories in the Bible, where, like, who was it? What were the brothers? Jacob and Esau, where they're fighting in the womb together.
Yeah.
I don't recall if it says anywhere at what point they would have been the mother would have been along in the pregnancy.
What about
But
Numbers 5?
what does Numbers 5 say?
Oh, it's where it gives instructions for a priest on how to give an abortion.
You know, can you read it?
Oh, are we gonna read the bitter? We haven't read the Bitter Waters in a while. Should we read it? We haven't read the Bitter Waters in a while.
Okay.
Okay, y'all. Make sure you guys are hitting that follow button, that subscribe button. If you guys like support while I get the Bitter Waters up, because we haven't done that in a while, please consider becoming a member or sending a super chat, helping support the live. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. All right. Numbers 5. I don't know why it's doing that. Numbers 1, Numbers. Oh, not number 5. Numbers 5. There we go. I believe it's. Oh, let me pull up the whole thing. I believe we're starting in verse 11. Oh, let me get comfy for this one. Then the Lord said to Moses, "Speak to the Israelites and say to them, if a man's life goes astray, and he is unfaithful to him, so that another man has sexual relations with her, and this is hidden from her husband, and her impurity is undetected, since there is no witness against her, and she has not been caught in the act. And if feelings of jealousy come over her husband, and he suspects his wife, and she is impure, or if he is jealous and suspects even her, even though she is not impure, then he shall take his wife to the priest. She must also take an offering of 1/10 of an ephah of barley on her behalf. He must not pour olive oil on it or put incense on it, because it's a grain offering of jealousy, a reminder offering to draw attention to wrongdoing. The priest shall bring her and have her stand before the Lord, and then he shall take some holy water in a clay jar and put some dust from the tabernacle floor into the water. After the priest has had the woman stand before the Lord, he shall loosen her hair and place her hands in place in her hands the reminder offering, the grain offering for jealousy, while he holds the bitter water that brings a curse. Then the priest shall put the woman under the oath and say to her, if no man has had sexual relations with you, and you have not gone astray and become impure while married to your husband, may this bitter water that brings a curse not harm you. But if you have gone astray while married to your husband, and you have made yourself impure by having sexual relations with a man other than your husband, here the priest is to put the woman under a curse. May the Lord cause you to become a curse among your people, and when you makes your womb miscarry and your abdomen swell, may this water bring a curse into your body, so that your abdomen swells or your womb miscarries. Now, sir, if I was to give a woman a drink with the express intent of making her miscarry, what is that called?
It sounds like there's death involved. It is killing.
Sounds like an abortion. Yeah. If a priest is giving a woman a drink with the express purpose of making the miscarry, that is an intentional termination of a pregnancy, which is an abortion. Yeah.
So, there are a bunch of evil things that happened in the Old Testament, looking at it in its entirety as they're supposed to. Once Jesus came and made the ultimate sacrifice on the cross for us, sin was absolved in different ways.
So hold on, doesn't the Bible say that? Isn't this still God's word?
Yes, it is.
Oh,
yes,
okay.
all of it.
Just to be clear, and God did say He's the same yesterday and today and tomorrow.
He is the same, yes.
Oh, so since God hasn't changed, and He instructed a priest to give an abortion, that means God's pretty okay with it, right?
I don't believe so. I think that there were a bunch of things. No, I don't think God was okay. There are plenty of times where He would be mourning, upset. So
but it'd be very clear that Jesus doesn't
be even jealous.
Yeah, so Jesus specifically said that He did not come to abolish the law.
He came to fulfill it.
Yeah, He came to fulfill it. For truly I tell you, until heaven and earth disappear, Not the smallest letter, not the least stroke of a pen will by any means disappear from the law until everything is accomplished.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Being
so since
he died
we're
on the
still on
cross for our
earth,
sins, and then
since we're still on
Sure.
earth, I'm going to go ahead and assume that heaven and earth have not disappeared yet.
no.
Okay, cool. So, and since that is the case, not the smallest letter, not the least stroke of a pen will by any means disappear from the law.
Well, I believe that the law is there's new law. So I don't think that there would be prescribed abortions no
But sir,
longer
Jesus
through
specifically
Christianity.
says that the old law is not gone away and will not go away until heaven and earth have disappeared.
So I think that the new, yes, but there is added to it law, and that you sin, you take it to the Lord, you take it to Christ, who will absolve you from your sins.
Sure, I took it to
And
Christ.
there
Christ
wouldn't
says right
be-
here, give abortions. Actually, I think we should do more abortions. I think that we should live more
didn't-
Christian lives to have more
He
abortions.
did not say. Christ never said that.
Yeah, I think
So-
I think to be a better Christian, we should have more abortions. I think that's the best way to hand it. And really, like, really, like, too many kids anyway, right? We should just have more abortions. There's already way too many people in this world. Like, I got backed
there's
into the
not,
other day.
actually.
See, just too many people, like face planet. I say we follow the Bible. But if you don't like the Bible, we
There's
can
a-
follow the Constitution. We can follow either one of them, where the Constitution says all persons born, or the Bible where he says that, life begins at first breath. We could talk about a lot of different situations in which we have that. But I really think that the better option for you, instead of, following the Bible and, just, making sure you have your abortion punch card ready, right? I think the better option would be for you, to just mind your business and let women make decisions on their bodies with their doctors without your involvement, and stop trying to push your religious values that obviously you don't really understand, okay, onto people that do not believe the same values as you, okay? Because in America, you have no will to, you don't have any necessity to have an abortion. No one's forcing you to have one. We're not even forcing you to have like mandatory vasectomies at the age of 13, which would technically solve the abortion issue, right? Because you wouldn't be able to have a kid ever, right? Until, you were 100% ready for it and went to the doctor to have a procedure to make sure you could have kids, right? We're not even saying that that's what you have to do. No one's mandating anything on your bodies, but instead of doing all of those things, we could just say, mind your own fucking business and stop trying to legislate other people's body using your religion that not everybody believes in.
Yeah, but again, I'm under the impression that my finances go in some respect to these things, so that I will have to do my research on. But I'm under the impression that, again, the large portion of the federal budget revolves around Medicaid, Medicare, Social Security, under which
none of
some
which
that
go
is
to fund abortions
taken
because of
and
the Hyde
applied.
Amendment, which we already talked about.
So I'd have to go back and check, because
What
don't
is
believe that.
the Hyde Amendment? There you go. Put that up there. And I'll put that on the screen so everyone can see that, so we don't have any issues. The Hyde Amendment is a legislative provision first introduced in 1976 that restricts the use of federal funds for abortion. Specifically, it prohibits the use of federal funds to pay for abortions, with exceptions for case of rape, incest, or when the lives of mothers in danger. This provision is typically attached as a rider to an annual spending bills. So yes, unless there's some extenuating circumstance, like I said, with rape or incest or life of the mother, then no federal funds are being used for abortion. So, like we already said, sir, you can not have your if you don't want your tax dollars going to it, that's fine. We already have legislation that's older than I am that says that it's not going to that. So that's pretty simple.
Interesting. I'll look that up more. I'm curious if I can just Google if I pay for abortions in any circumstance.
Yeah.
In any way whatsoever.
I just told you the ways: rape, incest, life of mother.
On that.
Yeah.
I want to know what the budget is for all of that, and I want to know how exactly I participate in it.
You don't.
Beyond.
Except for your forced participation by trying to legislate other people's bodies. Outside of that, the only participation that you have in it is what you're literally putting yourself in by trying to, again, legislate women's bodies and use your religion.
Yeah.
So, but anywho, I feel like this is almost like punching down at this point. So I'm going to go ahead and get off the phone. But I hope you have a good day. All right.
Yep.
All right.
I hope you do as well.
All right. I think I broke him. I think I broke that one. All right. All right, y'all. I think it's about time I get offline for the day. I really appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. I've been on for, has it been 3 hours yet? Like 2.5. That's enough for me. I'm going to go cook or something. But I will see you guys later. I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Make sure you guys are hitting that subscribe button. Hit that follow button if you haven't already. I will be back on tomorrow night. 6, 7 o'clock, somewhere in there. It should be around right around that time. So I hope to see you guys soon. I love you guys. Have a wonderful day, all right?